stop by for the Nintenbyte. You got the Triforce and it feels right. Like Bowser, you can listen all night, singing peaches until the sun lights. Summer shoots her beam so bright. Master Hand always brings a fight. Catch 'em all and use that fire blast. Put the soul back to visit your past. Welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast, episode 25. We got a hell of a show for you guys today. Lots of really great topics. Oh no, it's another week and we're talking Switch 2 again. Who would have thought it? You know, we also have a massive Pokemon leak going on. Some crazy stuff happening at Bandai Namco, and man, there's this Nintendo Switch Online thing happening next week. I don't know what the hell's going on because I didn't get in. Dang it. That being said, let's go around the room and introduce everyone. Let's start with our guest, the Geek Apprentice. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you again for having me on.
First time on the show. Glad to have you on. Thanks for reaching out. You actually were proactive to get on. I'm not used to it.
I happened to see it at the right time, and I was like, you know what? Shoot your shot. And I was heavily pregnant at the time, too. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out. But it did work out.
It's all right. It's all right. Hey, I'm glad to have you on. Hope we get you on some more shows. I promise this isn't like the Game Over Jesse show. We actually hit at the same time every week.
Damn.
Yeah. Jesse knows. He knows.
Oh, yeah. I was a co-host for him. I totally get it. It was never consistent. I love him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Shout out to Game Over Jesse's channel over there. He still once in a while pops a video out when he feels like it. I'm going to go right over to Nintendo because it's kind of like a debut for him. Not first time ever on the show. I mean, come on. No. It's Nintendo. Of course, apparently he loves podcasts so much. He's now a new co-host of the Nintenbyte Podcast. Welcome aboard, buddy.
Thank you. I just couldn't get enough. You know, I had to come back permanently.
Just had to come back. I just love it so much here every week. They just wanted to see my face every week. I understand. I am spoken for, by the way. Sorry, sir.
I'm here for Eric anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of Eric, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Well, as good as I can be, but yeah, good.
As good as you can be. You're still holding on to the Brewers, aren't you? Couldn't let them go.
No.
We couldn't let them go after losing to the Mets. All right, Thunder Stash Gaming up in the house.
What's up, everybody? I am excited. We got a lot of good topics today, and I have a lot of theories, so I'm excited to get into these.
Yeah. All right, we're going to start it like we usually do with our little topic roulette. Let's let the new man go first. Nintendo Talk. What topic you want to take, buddy?
Let's do the Switch Online test.
Yeah, all right. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Not the bank. You know, every topic's good this week. So let's see here. Let's go to Eric. Which one do you want, bud?
I'll do the Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco. Okay. All right. Sounds good. You know what? Should we save the best for last? I think we should. I'll go next. No, I'm kidding. Understand you.
What topic do you want?
I don't even know what topic. Are you going to leave me with the one I always get left with? That's usually what happens.
Well, actually, I was going to see if you want to switch it up.
Oh, yeah. I'll switch it up.
Cool.
No
pun intended.
Well, so
yeah.
the Pokemon Tera leaks then. Got it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm usually stuck with the Switch 2 topic.
I know.
Taking it for once. This is crazy to me. Crazy. All right. The Switch 2 channel's not covering the Switch. No, all right. Let's go ahead and get into our first topic, Nintendo Talk. What we dealing with here?
Yeah, so there is a mysterious Nintendo Switch Online test happening next week. We know some information about it. There's only 10,000 people. Only 10,000. Thunder Stash, you're me too. Nate?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Okay. Only 10,000 people, which is kind of crazy because when they first announced it, they were like, hey, you have 5 days to sign up. And it was literally like within seconds, it filled up. So all we know is that you have to download an app to participate. The app is a little over 2 gigs. And more info drops on the 20th. And the test begins on the 23rd. So I definitely wanted to go around and get your opinions on what it is. Only 10,000 people, 2 gig app. Kind of interesting. So
Geeko, let's start with you. What do you think this NSO test thing is?
Oh, I was just thinking, please don't call on me first.
On the spot.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where I would begin with it because the app is what threw me off. Yeah, I'll be completely transparent. I have no idea. I read this earlier, but I was like, I have no idea. But I can always claim that it's baby brain that I'm not thinking clearly.
Yeah, good. I mean, that's a legit claim. Anytime you just had a baby.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, let's go to you. I'm trying to talk all out here because like whoever goes first can get all the good ideas.
Yeah.
Oops, missed opportunity.
There's a few different things. I'm hoping that they're just testing out something that they're maybe cohesively bringing all of their NSO to a single app now instead of across the board and a couple different apps. And it's like, why? You can just bring it to one, have some voice chats, things like that in it, and just cohesiveness is what I'm hoping for.
That would be interesting. Now, I thought about like social features, because it's 2.2 gigs. It's rather big. I mean, that could be a lot of people go to the GameCube stuff, and it very well could be that. But then they also like want you to have a wired internet connection with your Switch. Like you don't have to, but they suggest it, and I'm like, man, if you're suggesting wired internet, that doesn't just feel like local GameCube games. Even when you're doing online, like they don't suggest a wired connection for an online Switch game. So why would they suggest it for this? So a lot of like bringing things together and adding social features in, local voice chat, messaging services, maybe even some reason they're testing video chat. I don't know why, because they don't have a camera on their system, but maybe it's a feature they're testing for maybe a future system. It could just be like really interesting if they kind of bring that all together. One thing I saw a lot of people pushing, and I think this is just a lot of hopium, the return of Miiverse. I mean, that would be sweet. I loved Miiverse. I just don't see Nintendo in 2024, 2025 wanting to moderate a social media platform. But
that's true.
I'm for it if they do it. I liked Miiverse. It was cool. But
yeah, it's also worth noting that Nintendo, the people that are in this don't sign like an NDA, but they don't want you talking about it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which that's gonna last all about like a minute. But yeah, a lot of people are saying GameCube, but I don't. Why would they have to test the servers of like a GameCube game? That makes they've never done it with N64. They haven't done it with the other systems on there. And then some people are saying social, but like the timing of this is the thing that's really throwing me off because we're at the end of the Switch. The Switch is going to be donezo. This is definitely going to, coincide with the Switch 2, I think. But what the heck would they have us test so late in the game? I personally think it's a matchmaking thing. I think it's a new way to like kind of like a social thing, but it's, for online matchmaking, or it's a game, or it's like this new online game. But
what if it is like a Nintendo MMO
that only 10,000 people have access to?
10,000 people who get to play. Yeah, it's a great way to test a game that would have millions of players. But, man, I mean, even with like the social feature aspect, I obviously this is something that would be for Switch 2. I think whatever this isn't launching this year, like publicly. I think it's going to be a next year thing. I know they're going to rush that out during the holidays, whatever this is. And it clearly it's going to be on Switch too. I want to be very transparent here, guys. We wouldn't be testing it on Switch if it wasn't going to be on Switch.
Yeah.
But clearly this is with whatever this is. It's with a forward thought that it is thinking towards the future. And it could be GameCube. I don't want to dismiss it. Some people have thought like maybe they're deciding to do streaming services with GameCube where they stream the games instead of having them local because the file sizes are kind of big, to trying to keep the app from ballooning to like 20 gigabytes or something. And I can understand that. One note about how it could be a streaming thing, although again, if it is streaming, there's not a single streaming app in the world that's 2.2 gigabytes. Like that just throws that for a huge wrench. Like the Xbox One on your phone, like if you download the Xbox app, it's like 130 megabytes and you can stream games on it. So it doesn't make any sense that it would be 2.2 gigabytes. But what I look at it, the one caveat for the streaming thing is Nintendo already works with Google for their voice chat on their phone app. They use Google for that. And Google did close down Stadia, but said it's open season for anyone who wants to use their tech for Stadia. And Stadia's tech worked really, really well. So I could see where maybe Nintendo's testing out this idea of, hey, let's centralize game streaming instead of it being on a billion different things on Switch. Let's centralize that all and set up some sort of streaming service. But
what if it's a combination of both of those, though, where they bring all of their current NSO games into one app and then bring GameCube into streaming section of that app? So they explain the size of the app and, what they possibly could need testing for.
I did some math in my video, and I pointed out when you combine all of the current NSO apps together, it's about 400 megabytes bigger. But with more optimization and everything, it's possible you could narrow that down to 2.2. Then you include streaming. It is. I think there's this pipe dream that I don't know what you guys. I think I'm all for NSO actually all just being a single app instead of having to load separate.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of surprised it isn't.
Yeah. So that's what this could be, and maybe there's a streaming aspect to that. And I bring this up because one thing to note about this, I was reading the fine print, and it sounds like whatever you're testing, it's for expansion pack members. Whatever this is, so it's not for your base users, your $20 a year users. So this is definitely a premium thing, whatever they're trying to offer. So I don't know.
My other theory was, is there a Switch game currently that's 2.2 gigs? Because I'm sure there is, but like maybe it could just be a cloud version and they're just kind of like stress testing it of like a game that's already out, say like Switch Sports or something. They're doing like a cloud version. I don't know why they would do that, but maybe offer that to premium members. Like
that brings me back to the Wii U days when they put the Wii Sports U and it was like split up and online with everything. It was a mess. I don't know what they were doing with that. Stash, what are your thoughts on this stuff?
I got a lot of thoughts. So for starters, the 10,000 participants, right? When can anyone ever remember when Nintendo's done this? Reached out to us, the consumer, the fans, to do something like this. It's always internal with Nintendo. Always.
The only thing close are like the Splatoon tests. They had the ARMS test, but that was open.
That was open, and that was just test fires for games that people already really knew about.
So that right there throws me for a loop. And then, of course, you got the app, 2.2 gigs. Obviously, that's a large app size. So then you got to start wondering some of the things that you mentioned, Nate, as far as bringing in all of the apps into one app. Yeah, that's a possibility. Do we know how big the Game Pass app is?
Oh, the Game Pass app. I actually don't know off the top of my head how big the Game Pass app is.
That is something that I fully expect Microsoft to be releasing their games everywhere.
Sure.
It's a matter of when, not if.
Dude, did they add Game Pass to the premium NSO via streaming?
That could be
right.
I would say that would be sick.
That was what I was thinking as a possibility.
Via streaming on Switch.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things, of course, being talked about, right? A lot of theories thrown out there, and I think a lot of them have weight. One of the other big ones, of course, and Nintendo Talk you mentioned as well, was the GameCube stuff. But then when you take into consideration that other rumor about GameCube controllers being put into production, and then you factor that in with the last Nintendo firmware update disabling GameCube controllers, but no other controllers. Why? Why?
Yeah,
so when you
have to do like a workaround.
So when you put it all together, it's like, well, what's going on here? First off, why are GameCube controllers or specific GameCube parts for a controller? Why are those in production? I mean, why else would they be? You guys probably own some of the NSO controllers. I got like the 64 controller when that went into production. it came out
Yeah.
for the N64 games. So I'm like, a lot of people got the email. I got the email for the 3-year anniversary of the expansion pack service. And I signed up for it on day one. I've had it continuously. And as we know, they keep adding to it. And of course, the email said it was going to be next year that they add to it.
Yeah, they kind of tease like stay tuned for more updates to this next year. It's like,
Yep.
And if you read all the other NSO ones, they don't say that at the end.
No, they don't. I went back. I've looked at my other NSO emails that I got every year, about resubscribing and whatnot. So yeah, none of them had that verbiage. And so obviously, you connect that to Switch 2 and it would make sense. Then you got to ask, like, are we testing something for Switch 2? And we don't know it. They're not going to come out and tell us.
No.
So when we do this test on the 23rd, it could be a front for something we're testing for the future, and we just don't know. So that was another thing I thought of. It's just very perplexing because they never include the fans. And the fact that they put it behind a gate, right? With, hey, you have to have expansion pack. Oh, and by the way, you have to have it by this date, meaning like you can't sign up for it right now. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it said you had to have NSO by a day before the sign up started. So meaning like, hey, you can't sign up for it right now and then think you can apply. You had to have had it. I'm like, that's interesting. Like, are you rewarding people who've had it? Or you want to make sure like people don't get in that aren't, longtime fans that have been supporting you guys? I thought that was an interesting way to do it. But again, if you're putting it behind the essentially the expansion pack paywall, then it's got to be a service that's going to be most likely only for expansion pack, right? Which, if it was hypothetically Game Pass, they would want that for everybody. That wouldn't be behind a paywall. At least I don't think it would. And then the last thing that we have to kind of bring this all in together with is the fact that we need to, or it's preferred that we connect it with the Ethernet cable. So again, they want to make sure that the internet is working. Whatever our internet setup is, it's working as best as it possibly can. And of course, so like, why else would you have a Ethernet, right? We all know it's better connection. It's not going to drop over Wi-Fi. So basically Nintendo doesn't have to worry about anyone's crappy Wi-Fi setup that they may or may not have, right? They can exclude that from this 10,000 person experiment, right? Is that, hey, hopefully I forget because I clicked the buttons so fast. I didn't read anything, obviously.
Me too.
I knew somebody would post it online after. But do you have to have it connected by Ethernet, or is it suggested?
I think it's suggested.
Okay.
Yeah, it's suggested. It's not required.
So I'm guessing there will be either they'll be able to see how we're connected, right? Or there will be a survey at the end where we state how we were connected. I would imagine.
I'm sure there'll be some sort of survey at the end of it for feedback.
So with all that information, with the GameCube stuff, again, the GameCube controller going into production, it's like, okay, is that a piece of it? Is that connected? Is it that and more? And again, the social stuff, maybe.
GameCube Pro controller, Switch 2, baby.
Right?
Thing is, I'm not even a huge fan of the GameCube controller, but the analog triggers, that's nice.
What's the chance they get 10,000 people to sign an NDA or sign something?
No,
Zero. Well, zero and definitely zero that nobody's gonna not say anything, right? We all know that's going to happen.
People are going to be live streaming it publicly. There's going to be videos out like within minutes of the thing going live. Screenshots all over all social media. Like
It's gonna be a stream. Watch me download this.
As people
app.
pointed out that like it's not an NDA, and so because it's not a legal NDA, there's actually nothing negative that can happen if you share it.
Just weird they would even say that.
Yeah, like they shouldn't even say it at all. Like Nintendo can't be that naive to think if you just ask nicely, people aren't going to put it out there. We have the Teraleak going on. Okay, that's illegal documents getting out there. You think perfectly legal things aren't going to? I just don't know why they want to hide it. Like they have to know it's not going to stay hidden. Like everyone's going to know. So I just don't know why. The only reason I could think like maybe they are not just going to say what it is, because why wouldn't they just say it? Because it's going to get out there anyways. What if it's something they're just not sure they're actually going to go forward with? Like, I
mean, it has to be a stress test. So
yeah, has to be a stress test, and maybe they also want some feedback on if it's something that people even want to use. And if it turns out that the answer is no, then maybe it's just something that never actually comes out. That's one thing I was thinking about with if it happens to be streaming related. Well, not everyone's really likes that. And if the feedback is, yeah, fuck this, and it's like 9,000 to 10,000 that tells Nintendo we don't want this, they might go, all right, well, then I guess scrap that idea. But it feels weird, though, because if it's at the point they're willing to let 10,000 people from the public in, it's pretty far along to just be like, let's scrap that,
Yeah.
But then just announce it.
I don't expect whatever we're doing to get scrapped because of what you said, though, because I do believe it's that far along.
Yeah.
It's got to be Switch 2 related. That's the only thing I can think of is like they don't want to officially announce it because it will be announced with Switch 2.
Well, yeah, and we'll get into that probably more in the show because a good part of me thinks that we're going to see Switch 2 before this.
Before the 23rd?
Yeah.
So Tuesday?
Wow.
Soon.
You're like, it's Friday this week.
Also the weird thing is 10,000 people is not a lot. So I wonder if they're going to have like set times throughout the week, like this 2-hour period or this 2-hour period on one day.
Because they said more details on the 20th, and that could be what it is. Like maybe it's not fully available.
That's not 10,000 overall, though, right? It's 10,000 just in the United States, plus whatever they have in Japan, plus whatever they have in Europe, right? It's not just 10,000 people, right?
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure. I got rejected, so I don't know.
Yeah, is that right? Because I mean, you're bringing an interesting point because that would be good information to know. Again, I just clicked it so fast.
Yeah, well, you had to.
Yeah. It's like trying to buy PS5 when it went up for sale.
Yeah.
You're just rapidly going through everything and hoping you get in.
Yeah. Because I mean, even if it's more than 10,000, let's say it's like 50,000, I could see where like Nintendo wants to lock it in for like certain times if it is a stress test. Like if that's what it is, if it's just we want feedback from enough people because we don't, internally we think this is great, but we want to get some public reaction. Okay, fine. Then you just let people do it whenever. But if it's specifically a stress test, then usually they'll want to narrow it down to like certain hours of the day to kind of force as many people to get on it at once. But even then, like that's what they were doing with like the test fires with Splatoon and stuff. It would only be at certain hours so they could force as many people at the server at once. I just don't think like you're talking about 50,000 people. Okay. We're talking about like Nintendo Switch has 140 million install base with 129 million active users. I know that won't be their day one on Switch 2, but it's kind of like 50,000 is not much of a stress test. Depending on what this is, you could have millions trying to use this thing at once.
Yeah, Andrew in the chat says, I heard it's 10K for all regions, excluding Japan. I know Japan had like a lottery system or something.
Yeah, they did a lottery.
So, I mean, could be 20 total, which is crazy that 2 people here got it.
Yeah, did that. It's crazy. 2 people here got it. By the way, shout out to Max Not Cool in the chat, the supposed Nintendo employee. He's not. He has he runs the Nintendo Switch 2 Reddit, and they put up a conspiracy theory about how he works for Nintendo. It was hilarious. Anyway, Obviously next week, guys, we'll know what it is and be able to talk about it to a degree. I'm sure we'll be able to talk about it entirely. I'm sure this thing's going to be all over the internet, so I'm not really too worried about heading into the next podcast and being like, all right, Thunder Session, Nintendo Talk. It hasn't leaked. You guys want to blow the load? Like,
right?
It's not, but it does. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. There's so many people. Like, I'm just as an example. In my DMs on X, I have had because I put up a thing saying, oh, I didn't get in. I've had over 100 people reach out to me, be like, hey, you want me to tell you everything about this? I'm like, okay, well, if you're just so willing to reach out to someone you don't know to do that, this is all over the internet. Like, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
It'll happen on like the day of the podcast.
The 20th, we'll just know it. It'll be public. Everything is supposed to be told to that. That'll get public. And then after that, when it actually goes live, dude, I'm telling you, someone's going to be literally live streaming it as it goes live because Nintendo has nothing legally in place to stop any of it. So, so I'm not too worried about it. Next week, we'll have a lot to talk about with this topic and what this crazy thing could be or is. I think a lot of the initial reaction is just going to be, what? That's what it is? Like, it's going to be, is it just out of left field or is it just something that people expect? Like GameCube is something people are expecting. If it's that, okay, cool. Why are we? So like, hey, Stash, you're playing it. Why the hell do we need to test this thing? We didn't have to test the N64. Like, what? Well, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, that was the other point. I'm glad you brought that up. That was something I want to mention too, is that we've never done that. There's never been testing for any of the other consoles. So why now?
Yeah. That's what makes me doubt that it's like GameCube unless it's streaming, but then the 2.2 makes me think it's not. So if it's local GameCube, I don't know why we'd be testing it. It makes no sense to me.
I do think GameCube's coming to NSO.
Absolutely.
And I think it would be on Switch 2, hopefully Switch 1 as well. I don't see why not.
I can see that being advertised as a feature for literally launch of Switch 2. We have GameCube there, so the extra games to play at launch that maybe you can't do on Switch. And then that's why they want the GameCube controls ready to go, because they're going to...
Let me ask you this, though. If we get GameCube, does that mean we finally put to sleep the Twilight Princess Wind Waker HD? Does that mean we have to put it to sleep now?
No.
Or does that still live? You know what I mean?
Because Metroid Prime got a...
No. I'm going to say no, because it's going to be Twilight Princess and Wind Waker 4K.
Well, I would love that, yeah.
Like, at this point, just delay it and let it be 4K. Just do it. I get that on my local screen, it's, if you're playing handheld, it's still HD. Okay, fine. So HD here, 4K. When I dock that bad boy, let's go. Zelda in 4K, like not through mods, would be sick. Oh, you're like, look at your she's like getting excited. Like, oh, yes, I would take that.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. So you're saying if we played it on the GameCube NSO, hypothetically, it would be 480p.
That's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
They do upscale a little bit.
Yeah, so it's Twilight, of course. Sometimes people forget that came out on GameCube.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was both Twilight and Wind Waker. So if we played it on the GameCube NSO, do you think Nintendo would be comfortable giving us significantly lesser versions of the game and then saying, oh, if you want the good version, you can go buy it?
Well, I think
I don't know if they do that.
I think it would be like 720p, 1080p, maybe, but just like a base, little upscale there, like they do with all the NSO stuff. But it's still gonna be 4:3. I don't think they're gonna give you the widescreen.
Yeah,
like there'd be something like that. Leave that out, and it just stays 4:3 because GameCube was mostly 4:3.
Yep.
They'd probably exclude like 1000-Year Door. Like, there's no reason for them to offer that.
We should say that, but didn't they put Link's Awakening on NSO, and they remade that? Like, that's the thing. Like, they don't care, because here's the thing. It's about the sub, baby. You want to go play the OG? If you get, like, even just, like, 2 extra subs, they're like, all right, it was worth dumping a ROM.
Yeah.
We're not talking about something that's, like, hard for them to do. It's just once they have the emulators ready to go. So it's kind of...
Yeah.
NSO is just all about that value proposition and just getting people to sub. It's about long-term. Nintendo... Here's what I'll say about this test next week, whatever it is. Nintendo's taking NSO seriously. I think when they first launched it, they weren't really sure, like if people were going to be all into it, and they got a lot of flack, and it was missing features that Reggie Fils-Aimé promised. Anyone remember on the phone app, we were supposed to be able to go in and do calendar invites and set up play dates with our friends? That was the thing. Reggie said it out loud that you will be able to do this on our paid online service. No, we cannot. In fact, we can't even talk to our friends. It's like they don't exist. So, I think that this just tells me they're taking NSO seriously now, because look, they got a pretty big install base. I can't remember what the exact numbers were at the last financial meeting, but they got a pretty big install base on NSO. And it is the cheapest of all the services, and it's going to keep growing as long as they keep adding more and more to it. So I feel like whatever this is, they feel like this is a big thing that could take NSO subs to the next level for them. So I'm just happy to see Nintendo's taking it seriously. Now, the problem is, if this is all about online stuff, after all, it's called Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo doesn't have the greatest record dealing with online features. I'm a little scared whatever this is, they're going to Nintendo it, and it's just not going to feel good.
Mm.
I don't know. I maybe I shouldn't be scared. But I just... Remember, we had voice chat on Wii. You had to buy a little Wii Speak and put it on top of your TV. That seems smart. Let's just open your entire neighborhood to being heard by this thing. You know, the headsets have been around for a while, man. You could just no headsets allowed. Okay, got it. Bluetooth.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Like, because they innovate with hardware and they innovate with games. They don't really innovate with like online stuff. So I doubt it's going to be a brand new thing. But like,
who knows?
Who freaking knows?
What is Nintendo doing?
I know.
Why are they inviting 10,000 people from the public to test some online thing for expansion pass members? I don't get it. Why are they being secretive about it? I just don't.
Yeah.
Nintendo. Man, watch. You know what it is? I figured out what it is. You know VTubing? That's it.
VTuber?
It's just you get to become your favorite Nintendo characters and record videos and talking as them.
Okay. Huh.
By the way, that would be a totally Nintendo thing to do.
They would.
Like, I can see Nintendo doing it. We got an alarm clock. All right. I mean, maybe you guys are about to test the Nintendo toaster. Maybe that's coming up here. All 10,000 until 20th are going to be told you got to enter your address. They can send you the toaster. It's an accessory. All right. I think we can move on to our next topic. Who's going next? Was it Eric?
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about, man?
So, Bandai Namco apparently canceled several projects, including one for Nintendo. So, Bloomberg started amidst these cancellations that that Bandai Namco is putting employees into a room with nothing to do until they quit, so they don't have to pay severance. This is apparently a very common tactic in Japan due to their very protective labor laws. But it sort of sounds like a loophole. Bandai Namco denied the allegations. Of course they did. But stated that after canceling, employees have nothing to do and some quit. Okay. I mean,
you deny it, but then you say you're doing it. It's
right. So do we think any major projects, any of the major projects that have been canceled, they have worked on Pokémon Tournament, new Pokemon Snap, and are the main core of Super Smash Bros. What are you thinking?
Yeah, because they canceled a bunch after they just announced 3 million sales in a day for Sparking Zero. Wow. In a day. And then they cancel projects.
So I read a couple posts about this right after that news came out, and I thought this was interesting. So there's a thing in Japan called expulsion rooms, and they're sometimes used by Japanese corporations in a country with, as you mentioned, some of the world's strictest labor protection laws. But they said employees are typically given no work-related tasks, but are left with the knowledge that their performance will give managers ammunition to cut severance when they do leave. Many employees use their time in such rooms to look for other jobs. That's They're called expulsion rooms.
If you're put in the room, you're pretty much being told we don't fucking want you here anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I thought this was like very interesting wrinkle after that news came out, because the first thing I thought is like, is this a practice in Japan? You know, like
It is.
it a common thing that obviously here in the West we don't do that? So maybe it's something they do there in Japanese culture, and sure enough, yeah, they do that, and it's called an expulsion room. So yeah, pretty interesting. But that doesn't make it any better just because it's a common practice. I think that's unfortunate.
Just because you name something doesn't mean it's good.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We
So
don't do that. We just don't give them anything to do. That's like one of the primary definitions of what this is.
I feel like that wouldn't work in the West. I feel like people would be like, okay.
I feel like it'd be illegal.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
people in the West would find a way to sue and then somehow win in court.
Yeah.
You can't just keep employees on, but shove them in a room and give them nothing to do, hoping they quit.
Yeah, I think someone would go to court and claim something that has to do with like mental health, probably.
Yeah.
Emotional distress or something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, definitely. And they probably make out pretty good. But yeah, very, very interesting stuff. I was reading through some of the comments, and people are like, why don't you have them like at least work on a new Soul Calibur while they're in the room? I'm like, yeah, that's true, man. It's been a long time since we had Soul Calibur.
Right. The interesting part to me, obviously, besides like the shock that this is like a normal thing in Japan, very much. This is why I kind of put in the notes like loophole, because I'm like, I don't really know that their labor protection laws intended this, but it's kind of like one of those things that companies are trying to do to get out of paying severance. Because for those who don't know, in order for them to let employees go, they have to first cut corporate salaries before they can do that. Like, remember when Iwata got all the credit for cutting his salary and not firing employees? That's actually law in Japan. You have to do that before you fire employees. Mm-hmm. Now, you can still fire employees after doing it. So they do get credit for not firing employees after cutting salaries. But it's one of those things that, like, they have to do that. And if you don't want to cut corporate salaries because you don't want to let people go, then you force them in a room and hope they quit. Because then you also don't have to pay them severance. So it's like a win-win for the business. It's definitely a loophole that they don't have any protections for that. And maybe that'll change one day. But setting the shock of that aside, because obviously it's a cultural thing and it's normal. And as Thunderstash said, if you get put in that room, it's over. Get paid to look for a new job. Mm-hmm. Get paid to look for a new job. But there's some interesting things about the cancellation aspect, because one of them was a Nintendo project that Nintendo was paying for got canceled. Now, for that to get canceled, I would assume Nintendo pulled the plug because they're funding it. Why would you pull the plug on something like that? And Bandai Namco last year just combined their studios together into 2 studios specifically for Nintendo games. And apparently there's an excellent YouTuber out there, Nintendo Forecast, did a video on this, and he actually went into how, hey, besides those studios, they had other studios making Nintendo projects. Like, Bandai Namco is like almost all in on like making things for Nintendo, which is crazy. So, and I kept thinking, like, what would they have canceled? Like, look, we fully believe that Smash Bros is probably starting development here. And because Sakurai, he's done with his YouTube channel. He's got one more video coming, but he's pretty much done. He's going back to work. So you assume that's on a new Smash Bros. You're not going to cancel that. The series is too big. In fact, maybe that starting is what led to the other thing getting canceled, because they need more employees for it. But then you're putting employees in a room to quit. So then that doesn't make sense to me there. So I kept thinking, like, what other games they've done? Like, maybe they were working on a Pokken Tournament 2, and they just decided, nope, not going to happen. We're going to can that. But then again, I feel like I might have saw that would have probably been in the Teraleak. I got to feel there would have been a meeting, a meeting or some sort of letter in there about that, and there wasn't. So I'm not so sure it's anything Pokemon related. Because the other thing they did was new Pokemon Snap, and that sold well. So I can see them making another one for Switch 2, one per generation. But it's like, but I don't think that got canceled. So I'm thinking, like, whatever got canceled, it must have been smaller. And I swear, if we find out it was like Star Fox, like, I'm really worried that it was like an IP we wanted to come back, but Nintendo pulled the plug. Because by the way,
F-Zero.
Nintendo pulled the plug on Bandai Namco supposedly earlier, taking Metroid Prime 4 away from them. So like they're trying to trust them with some of their big IP, and like Nintendo's not afraid to pull that plug. So if it was like something like Star Fox, and we find that out, like it gets leaked out there from some employee that gets let go, it's gonna be like, oh man, that's gonna hurt because we know it ain't being made anywhere else. So like, what do you think this could be? Like, because I think Bandai Namco is involved in so many different Nintendo projects.
Yeah, my first thought was Pokemon, but I feel like we would have heard it in the.
Yeah,
in the
I feel like because of the Teraleak, it's like we would have had an email or something.
I kind of am with you. I feel like it might be some weird one, which is a shame because like we've been dying for a Star Fox, but it also could be like F-Zero, Kid Icarus, something like that. But it's a shame because you look at new Pokemon Snap, and that's the best looking Pokemon game by far, and I think it's one of the better games. So yeah, it's a shame. Could it be something else though? Could it be like a Dragon Ball Z port to the Switch or something like?
Yeah, well, I mean, they said it was a Nintendo funded game. I don't think Nintendo would have to fund. I think Bandai Namco would just bring it over because there's money to be made.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like people just noted it's weird because Bandai Namco doesn't like on the outside look like the company's doing bad. Like for all the companies downsizing, Bandai Namco doesn't feel like the one that needs to. But canceling several projects, I mean, that always feels like, hey, we're trying to save money right now because our finance. Here's the thing: the fiscal quarter is coming up. Maybe, I mean, this is what it all is. They just know, hey, yeah, we sold 3 million of this, but our finances are about to be really bad. And we need to show our investors that we've already done something about it. So we canceled projects. We didn't fire anyone. We canceled projects.
Yeah.
But
hey, it could be something small too, like an eShop game or something like it.
Yeah.
My first thought was a joke answer, not actually to be taken seriously. But my first thought for some reason was, "Hey, you Pikachu."
Hey, you Pikachu.
I loved that game, even though I had no idea what was happening in it. I was like 5.
Dude, hey, you Pikachu, that takes me back. Oh man. Man. That's the thing. I just don't know what they could be working on. Besides, obviously, those a couple Pokemon spin-offs they work on in Smash. Like those are what they're most known for. I don't know. I mean, they have other Nintendo projects, obviously, I'm sure in the works. They didn't close down the Nintendo studios. They literally have 2 studios that make Nintendo games. So those studios are still there. And I feel like even if those studios were going to close down, I kind of feel like that's one of those that they work so close with Nintendo that Nintendo would offer to buy them, kind of like with Monolith Soft. Be kind of like, hey, you guys make our games. Why would we get rid of you? That doesn't make any sense. But man, I don't know. This is just a funky situation. Obviously, the thing that's caught everyone off guard is the fact that like this is normal in Japan to like just incentivize employees to quit by driving them insane by giving them nothing to do. Like, look, a lot of us would like to get paid for doing nothing, but a lot of us would like to commute and public transit and go to the office and just sit there with nothing to do for 8 hours and then go back home. It gets a little old, like. As much as people complain about our jobs, the busier the jobs get, the faster the time goes. You get through your day more. Well, when there's nothing to do, it is mentally grating as you're like staring at the clock for 8 hours of nothing, just knowing that you got to get on a train and commute an hour back to your house. It's like, oh man. I mean, you get your lunch break, I'm sure, at least. Let them socialize, at least. Let them have a life. Oh man.
Yeah, I was looking at the games that Bandai Namco's done that are like Nintendo IP that aren't the obvious ones that we think of probably off the top of our head. One of them was the Mario Baseball. So Mario Sluggers on Wii. That was one of them. And I was just Googling right now, and there's a post actually on Family Boards from December 2023 report that Bandai Namco is developing 2 Nintendo games. So I wonder if it was one of those. The first thing I thought was, okay, could it be Kid Icarus? But I don't think Kid Icarus will get cut. I do think they're working on that. I think Kid Icarus is going to return, but I don't think that's a cut game,
Yeah.
especially because Sakurai, his involvement. I don't think he'd be very happy.
Yeah.
I think you want to keep him happy with the way that guy works.
No, I'm pretty sure Sakurai can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I think Nintendo wants to keep
I mean,
him happy though.
well,
He's a workhorse.
He said he told Nintendo in one of his videos, like, "Hey, if I do think we can make more Smash, but I got to go in a new direction." And it's like, okay, Nintendo's just gonna let him do whatever the fuck he wants because he is Smash Bros.
Yeah, he's earned that trust from not only Nintendo, but I think the entire
lot of
Nintendo community.
Yeah, and he kept a massive online presence with that YouTube channel that blew up. And it's kind of like, hey, man, you just let this guy do his thing. He's got an audience. It's going to sell, whatever it is. Even if, there's some crazy rumors out there about Smash. I'm not going to get into it because I don't think it's real. They're on 4chan. But it's like a Smash series where it's a Smash Bros. Game per franchise. So you can get more in depth.
Oh.
I'm like, that's a really cool idea. I don't know that that's going to be received crazily well. Well, they're like, hey, hope you like Mario, because if not, that would for you this time around.
That would kill Sakurai, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he could handle not being able to put other characters. Anyway, I'm interested to see what his ideas are for that. But yeah, I mean, Sakurai is the one that works with Bandai Namco on projects. Obviously, Smash being one of them. If it was Kid Icarus as well, he would be involved somewhat in that. So, yeah, I just don't really know. I think whatever is coming, I don't know. I mean, we will probably figure out because some disgruntled employee who leaves will eventually just say something, especially when there's no severance because they quit.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are they worried about? Unless they're on a I don't even know if exit contracts are a thing in Japan. So,
yeah, I read that 100 resigned. So Bandai Namco has 1,300 employees. They've moved 200 to such rooms, and out of those 200, 100 have resigned. It said the people asking not to be named discussing private information. This is according to Yahoo Finance one day ago, that 100 did leave, and they asked for their name not to be mentioned.
Yeah, and Bandai Namco put out there that, this just happens. This is normal when we're transitioning and moving employees to new departments. I'm like, dude, you knew you were canceling the project. Shouldn't you already know where they're going to move to? Mm-hmm. You just don't want them there. Just be. I mean, I know. Here's the thing. I don't think they could say that out loud because I think the PR from that would be horrendous. Mm-hmm. Even if this is a normal thing, like Thunderstash looked it up, it's normal in Japan. Yeah, but you don't remember companies saying it out loud.
Yeah,
that's not a good look. It's imagine that Nintendo's like, oh damn, it's the Wii U 3DS era. We got to downsize. Hey, we didn't let anyone go. People just quit.
We just isolated them for months.
We took them, we put them in a room, we played the same Mario song on loop for 8 hours, and then they quit. It is what it is.
We made them play Mario Party 10 for.
They had full benefits.
Everybody's wanted to switch.
Everybody's forced to play that. Non-stop. 8 hours a day. It'd be fun for the first 10 minutes, and then, oh boy.
Someone in the chat said a room full of alarmos.
A room full of alarmos. Oh, God. It won't function. It won't turn off.
That's good.
Open your eyes. Shut up. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I think we can move on. This is just such a weird topic. I don't even.
It is.
What is Bandai Namco doing? I only throw it in there because I'm I'm confused. What is Bandai? All right, whatever. Let's move on to the fun topics now. We got two big ones, and I think I go first, and I don't even have the one that I usually have. So this is a shocker to me, but this is still massive. And yes, technically there's a slight relation between our final two topics, but we'll save most of the relation stuff for the Switch 2 topic. I'm talking, of course, about the Pokemon Tera leaks. It's kind of like a Giga Leak 2.0 because there was terabytes of information back then too. For some reason, though, we don't call that a Tera leak. That's a Giga Leak. So this should be like the Giga Leak 2.0, but we're calling this a Teraleak because it's a terabyte. It's less data than the Giga Leak, but if that makes sense. Anyways, yes. So before we can even get into the stuff of this, I gotta note, like, this is crazy how this happened. Essentially, an employee who we're not going to name had their login credentials back in August. And we know August because that's what Game Freak said publicly. This happened back in August. Compromised, which led to somebody getting access to their account, logging into their Nintendo backend account, and just downloading everything they can. A terabyte of stuff. And this is all like a very up-to-date stuff. We're not just talking about old stuff. There's old stuff. There's lots of old. They've got lots of beta stuff. We're talking about like things that haven't been announced. Playable versions of games we haven't even seen. It is extremely up-to-date. And obviously a ton of employee credentials and all of this too. Not just the individual employee who had his account compromised. There's tons of email data, direct contacts with higher-ups and employees everywhere, employee addresses, and all it's pretty bad. Now, you guys haven't seen a lot of that stuff really covered publicly because I think everyone knows you just don't ever get into private details like that. Even the hacker himself is like not really talked about that kind of stuff, even though it's in the files. Like, it is what it is. It's just part of the leak. So first off, like, how do we feel about the fact that this leak even happened and exists? Because I feel like there's kind of like a really big gray area here, because I love leaks, man. I really do. But we're talking about, just as an example, I'll get into this a bit later, a fully playable version of Pokemon Legends ZA, a game that we haven't even seen gameplay for yet. It exists. It hasn't leaked yet to the public, but there are multiple people playing it. Like, this is when I say this is bad, this is bad. Like, this makes the Giga Leak look like a baby. That was all old information. Like, it was just cool to look at the history of Nintendo, basically, is what that was. So that would be like in this leak when we got all the beta Pokemon from old games and like old, like, you know, ideas that got scrapped and camera angles for battles that got scrapped. That's all cool. That's fun to look at. That's like history of Pokemon kind of stuff, or like the origin of Pokemon, and also some very weird documents with some very strange ideas from some of the people that worked at Game Freak.
They're freaky there.
Yeah.
They're pretty freaky. You might have learned some things about Pokemon that are not canon, by the way. But some of the ideas behind some of the Pokemon, little.
So what you're saying, Game Freak isn't just a name; it's an attitude.
It's an attitude. Absolutely. Might as well just call this the Freak Leak based on some of that stuff we had. But how do we feel about that this happened? Because like this does to me make the Giga Leak look like a baby. Like this is massive spoiler territory for shit that we shouldn't know about. So like, how do we feel about the fact that this even happened? Like Geek, I see you over there being like, oh man.
I'm someone that I don't really like pay attention to a lot of leaks when they come out, but when it's like small stuff, it is fun because it's like, you know, you get little bites of what's to come. But when it's stuff like this where it's kind of major spoiler territory, I mean, they're called spoilers for a reason. It's like that kind of takes the fun out of it. And obviously having all of that personal information is kind of dangerous, but y'all said that that information wasn't leaked, like it's known, but it wasn't leaked. Yes.
Well, it's out there. If you find it's in there, it's in the docs. Just no one's talking about it because I think there's like a general agreement that like this is just we shouldn't talk about that. But technically, it's in there. I've seen the files.
I feel like that's probably the most disappointing part, in my opinion. It's just all the personal information getting out of there. On the one hand, it's kind of cool that it sounds bad, but the bad part of me is like, oh my gosh, this is so much information. That's kind of cool, but it's like, I don't want to know that yet. I was trying to think. There was something specific in there that I was like really excited for, but I was like, I didn't need to know that yet because I haven't been in the Pokemon world since Sword and Shield, I think, but I've wanted to get back into it. Yeah, I mean, maybe I hope I don't sound like a Debbie Downer, but to me personally, I'm just like, I don't want this much information leaked. I'd rather find out about it organically.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's just me.
Yeah. I think it's definitely disappointing for like the newer stuff to be leaked. And obviously they're not just games and like concept art, but also like employee information was leaked,
Yeah.
which is not cool. But yeah, the newer stuff being leaked, I don't want to see that stuff. And it's kind of a shame too, because the Pokemon company as a whole finally is taking time to make games. Like they didn't release one this year. They're taking this time. And then for this to leak, it's just like, they must feel like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't look at the things, not the new games, but I am a giant. My favorite gen is Gen 3. I think Gen 3 is perfect in every way. And seeing cut Pokemon in concept art for that gen is like mind blowing to me. Like my 10-year-old self would be doing backflips right now. Like it's so awesome seeing that. But yeah, this is, if you're a Pokemon fan, pretty much everything is leaked. Like concept art, different like intros that they were playing around with for like X and Y and stuff. So it's like the dam is open, man. Like it's crazy what has leaked. But yeah, some of the more interesting things were the new playable ZA, but also that it's was it in development for Switch? Thunderside, or it was supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, so it's interesting. They said it was supposed to come out in 2024, and that it was shown that it was being developed for both Switch, and there was information in there that it was being developed for Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have been, I believe, the first ever cross-gen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cross-gen Pokemon game.
I think so.
If you look at obviously the portable history, and when I saw that, I immediately thought it's just another thing on why we should put more stock in the rumor that Switch 2 was supposed to come out this year and was internally delayed.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately thought, yeah, 2024, that sounds right. It would have came out on Switch 1 and Switch 2.
That's true.
And the fact that somebody completed the game, that makes sense that the game's completed. Because again, it's being held. It sounds like it's being held until next year when Switch 2 comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw 2024. I'm like, yeah, it sounds right. Totally. I could see that.
And of course, we're not going to show any of the screenshots, but yeah, they're out there. Even ZA, there's like screenshots of that. It's also worth noting that like there's a lot of stuff out there, and if you are interested, Central Leaks is posting a lot of it over on Twitter. But even they are like retracting some things because they're getting misinformation about like fan edits or like lost in translation type of thing. So yeah, the floodgates are open, but it's still hard to know what's real and what's not. But I think the coolest thing is the concept stuff, concept Pokemon.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Totally. So obviously, just starting from the top, I think we can all agree, never, ever good to see employee information leaked.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for that. Nobody wants that. Nobody cares except for probably the black market that wants to steal your identity and make your life a living hell. There's no reason for that. None whatsoever. That's unfortunate. And, that this happens all the time with leaks, right? So many networks have been hacked. Xbox has. PlayStation Network has. So many actually places that I have either a subscription with or something that's been hacked. It's like, man, my data must be everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is crazy, but thinking about that stuff will keep you up at night. So I don't, but again, that's never good. What I really liked is the old stuff. Again, like you said, to me, kind of sifting through that, and I'm not like personally sifting through it. I do follow Centro Leaks. I have for a long time. So they're doing a great job, honestly, posting the stuff that I think they think people would want to see, and I've been fortunate enough to avoid any of the spoilers, which is great. And I don't know how, but I just haven't seen that part. But looking through all the old stuff is cool because it kind of makes you feel like you're a fly on the wall at Game Freak to see like all this stuff that they thought about doing, right? Like you said, the different intros, and one of them was like the origin story of Pokemon. And I thought that was like super interesting lore. I'm like, you guys should use that, man. This is really interesting. And I wonder if they're going to, right? Some of the stuff, again, yeah, it's a little out there. It's a little freaky, like you said. But I did think that was really cool. And I think, again, I don't like future spoilers. I do not at all. I love surprises. I never want to know if someone says, "Hey, do you want to know what I'm getting you for, Christmas, for your birthday?" I'm like, "No, absolutely not." That's like the most fun part about it, actually, is not knowing what it is and being surprised. And so I absolutely cannot stand leaks of this nature. And we've seen some interesting leaks in the last couple of years. I think what was it? There was a Wolverine leak for PlayStation 5. And that's the next big game. They made Spider-Man 2, and then Wolverine's the next one. And it's like I really don't want to see this stuff. It's really not that interesting either. I want to see the finished product, man. So the fact that apparently somebody beat this, right? I had heard, right, that it was the game was able to be completed beginning to end. That is crazy, and I hope it doesn't get out there to the masses.
It was like 50% translated too, I think. It's like half of it was translated.
I wonder how current the game was that was on this server. They got access to the server, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wonder how current that is.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it was the developer portal, so it's probably pretty current.
Then it's probably current. Yeah, if it's developer portal, it has to be.
Yeah.
They're going to remove the old ones. Man, yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. It's a bad look, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cool. Not into it. But again, the old stuff, really cool. They should put that in a book.
They should. I'd buy it.
Yeah, like the Zelda books. In fact, I had one that should be in the mail today. I have the Hyrule Historia. I've had that for years, but the Legend of Zelda Arts and Artifacts, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on sale on Amazon for like dirt cheap. I think I got it for under $20, brand new. So yeah, that should be in today. That stuff to me is super interesting to like really deep dive into the lore. And like I have fond memories of looking at the artwork in the instruction booklet for the original Zelda. They had some really good art in it. That Link's Awakening, Zelda 2, and Link to the Past. And then they kind of got away from the really good art. There was still some decent art in N64 era, and then they really got away from it. But it's like, hey, something like this, if you're a Pokemon fan, this would be really cool to see in a hardback book.
I agree.
I miss those little booklets that came with our games.
Oh, I do too, for so many reasons. Even the smell of it, honestly, the smell of it. I'd love to open up the instruction booklet, and this is a great smell, man. Brings me back.
Yeah.
Didn't think we'd be talking about smelling instruction booklets.
Me either, man.
That's the thing. It happens.
Getting a little freaky over here.
We don't need smelling salt. We need little instruction booklets.
There were two big things, though, that were talked about in this leak. Gen 10, which not really a leak that they're working on it, but the code name is Gaia, and there's two versions called K and N. We don't know anything about that.
Yep.
It's an archipelago of islands in development for Switch 2, but tested last year for Switch 1. So I don't really think any of that is a shocker. I mean, the archipelago, I guess, like new information. And then another project, Pokemon Synapse, is a new multiplayer game being made by Game Freak and Ilka, described as Splatoon-like, which I think is interesting. So maybe like I don't know what Splatoon-like is, 4-on-4, like.
Maybe it's what you're testing next week.
I will flip out.
That would be so cool.
Like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon style, 4v4. I'd be down.
Yeah. There is technically one more thing I didn't put in there for the Gen 10. There's supposedly a playable version of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in there because I'm like, I don't really want to talk about that, and we don't have any screenshots yet. But Riddler-Ku, one of the Pokemon leakers out there, kind of put out there that like if more stuff leaks for like Gen 10 and ZA, that it could lead to like sweeping changes with the games, which will just make them delayed even further.
Which could be a good thing.
It might not necessarily a bad thing but like also if they have to like redo the whole game because like ZA is playable start to finish story wise. Like if they have to change the entire story and everything about that game now,
that would suck. That's
going to be a year or two plus delay. That's not great. So we'll see what happens with that. There was some well first off, what do you guys think of like that Pokemon multiplayer game? I feel like Gen 10 we don't really know anything about. KNN don't really mean anything. And so even speculating on Gen 10, it's on some islands. Some people think it might be Greece or whatever. Like that's cool, but we don't really know. But what about this idea of a multiplayer Pokemon game? Because we have some out there, but we don't have anything that's Splatoon like. That's for sure.
I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Make it free for online members. You know,
free to play. Yeah.
How would that work?
I don't even know, but make it work.
No,
I don't even know. Like Splatoon, I'm like, okay, Splatoon, so they're spraying with paint, but like technically you can kill players. So are we like trainers that each throw one Pokemon out and we just all run at each other and it's like an all-out brawl, trying to capture the flag or something?
It would probably be something like that.
That would be insane though if you think of all the Pokemon abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, just teleport, man. Dude, I got the flag. I teleport.
That's true.
I win. But that is, man. There's a lot of potential with some of this stuff. Does anyone else have thoughts on that? Because like I can't even imagine what this would be.
I just like the idea of them trying something new with Pokemon, which not to say that they haven't been, even though I didn't play them myself. What I saw of Arceus, I genuinely don't know which one it's supposed to be. And Scarlet and Violet was it. They were definitely trying new concepts, and it seemed to be working for them. And my brain went to, obviously, it would be something way better than this, even though I love the nostalgia. Pokemon Stadium is the first multiplayer Pokemon I think of. But calling it Splatoon, like, I don't know. I just feel like that opens up a lot of different possibilities. And I think many of us that grew up with Pokemon, especially if you watched the anime, always wanted a Pokemon game that the battles felt like the anime, which I recognize would be difficult to do, but it'd be crazy if whatever this multiplayer game is kind of has that feel to it. Because again, just growing up with the anime, I always wanted my Pokemon game battles to feel like the anime. So it'd be awesome if that could happen.
Yes, we need the trainer shouting in the middle of matches as they pause for 5 minutes.
Dodge it.
Just use the microphone from Hey You Pikachu.
Yeah. Now, did the leak say originally, and maybe it's been like translated or something, that it was going to be a MMO?
That was a mistranslation. It's not a
mistranslation. Okay.
Yeah.
That had me interested.
Yeah. Pokemon MMO would be cool, but that's off the table.
That'd be crazy.
Do you think they would do a Splatoon-like game? Just Nintendo's just so specific about how they do things. Like, for example, with Mario Kart, we don't have another racing game because they want Mario Kart to be the racing game.
The racing game.
Which is why we do still have F-Zero, but as a NSO game, I think that it is fan service for the most part, but it also might be planting a seed and reintroducing it right to the younger generation. That way GX hypothetically remastered could sell. So there's two ways you can go with that. But I think the school of thought has always been like, hey, they don't want to release another racing game because they only want you to buy this one. We're going to funnel all of our resources into this one, and give you the DLC tracks, all these updates. So that's why I wonder, it's like, do you want there to be competition for that? Because, I mean, they really seem all in on Splatoon.
I think Pokemon can do whatever it wants.
Yeah. I mean, I think they can, but I think Nintendo might be like,
You mean a bug-free game?
Yes,
you really want to do that?
Yeah.
A complete game? That's a little far, but a polished game.
Yes.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
been a while since they've done that.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about this, and like, isn't Pokemon Unite kind of what we're talking about here? Isn't that like
That's like the one that comes to mind, right?
isn't that like a zone thing where it's like isn't that 4v4 or 2v2 or something?
I don't know. I played it for like 2 seconds on my
Or
phone.
that's like a 3v3 or something. I don't know. But
Maybe they have guns. We're looking at it all wrong. They have guns. It says Splatoon like they have guns.
Pal World. That's
Yeah.
why they're suing them.
Yeah,
Walk off
exactly.
Yeah, they're knocking off Pal World. It is what it is. There were other things in this leak too. Obviously, I didn't write everything down because there was a bunch of shows that leaked. A Netflix series that was supposed to launch this year, but isn't out yet. So maybe that got pushed to next year. Not a lot of details on that show specifically, but there's also apparently a full story out for Detective Pikachu, a new Detective Pikachu movie that supposedly has been in production since 2021. Don't know if that's still coming or if that's still a thing, but we've heard on and off over the years, like Detective Pikachu has kind of been on and off as they're trying to figure that out because the first movie was so successful. It obviously makes sense they'll probably follow it up eventually. It's just kind of weird because like the way the movie ended, I don't really know. Like, how do you bring Ryan Reynolds back as Pikachu? Like, if you watch the movie, like how it ended, it was kind of like you don't need anything else to happen unless you're going to have a different story in that world. But then, like, the talks were always like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is going to come back as Pikachu and this time. But how? He's no longer Pikachu at the end. I don't get it.
A prequel.
A prequel. That's, yeah. Like, something's going on. Because, like, you have to have Pikachu in Detective Pikachu. Can't call it Detective Pikachu without the Pikachu. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's not for me to worry about. That's obviously for the story writers out there. But I like I think some of the movie and show stuff is interesting. And I was probably touched on earlier. There's like the most recent leak from this whole thing was like a massive art dump, just a massive art dump. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't know why they don't sell books with that stuff in it.
Yeah, we were talking about the concept art. And stuff.
Like, I just don't get it. Like, you have several gigs of this stuff. Like, why wouldn't you? This is free money. Literally free money.
And it doesn't even matter now. It's like 20 plus years old.
Dude, the Zelda team figured it out. Sell your art. When the game's out, sell your art, man. Who cares? Make bank. And they're like, nah, we're good. Dude, you don't even have to put text in it. It just has to be a book with a bunch of art. Like, I don't get it. Whatever. The Pokemon company does their own thing. You figure out if all they love money. I just don't know why they don't want all the money. What are you doing? Yeah. I feel like if I was a decision maker or a Pokemon company, I'd make a few different decisions.
It'd also be kind of cool to see like a documentary on how they came up with the Pokemon concept and things like that too. Or did they already do that?
No, they didn't.
No. Was that part of the leak?
There's a thing in the leak about how Pokemon was founded, like the origin story of Pokemon. And it is it's not terrible, but let's just say humans and Pokemon were pretty much the same thing at one point.
Ooh.
So that was a thing. And there's some things that happen with the gods, and suddenly now humans are separate from Pokemon. I don't know. The origin story isn't like, it's not one of those, it's not one of the funky stories where like a Pokemon is autistic or another Pokemon is potentially a pedo, the way it's described. Some weird stuff going on with these Pokemon stories. The origin one doesn't go quite that funky, but it is a little awkward. There's some suggestions in there of like humans and Pokemon maybe doing it. And I just don't know what the mindset. By the way, none of this is canon. I know everyone acts like it's canon because it came from the Pokemon company, but it's like they never put this out publicly.
No.
Like, it's clearly not intended to be canon. It was an idea by somebody at some point, and they just never deleted it. They clearly didn't move forward with the idea. But it's very weird. And it would be cool, as Eric said, to like have a documentary. Here's the thing: there'll be a documentary on the leak. Someone's going to do it. It should be the Pokemon company. They might as well do it. It's their stuff.
Yeah.
But it won't be them. It'll be some third party. Oh, man. This leak, you know, I didn't get a chance to talk about my thoughts on it earlier because I had to step away. Weird thing going on. Someone shows up at my door with a invite to my cousin's wedding, and I'm like, wait a second. What? It's in the middle of the road? What do you mean it's in the middle of the road? What? What? It's night right now. What is going on? Anyways, don't know what's up with that. But what I will say is I'm very uncomfortable that we're even talking about this. The few scam things like, you know, oh, Gen 10 is going to be on Switch. Shoot, cool. Like that, that's no details. Yeah. That's just like, oh, that gives us like something cool to talk about and speculate on. But like the moment that I started having people show me and provide pretty definitive proof that Legends EA is being played right now, I'm like, dude, first off, as a fan, that's not how I wanted to find out about this game. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see it the way it was intended on Switch, at least out the gate. Later PC version's fine, but this is not how I want to see it. Two, as a content creator, this really sucks. I was planning to do a bunch of ZA coverage next year, but you can't because a lot of ZA coverage is taking small things and speculating on them. But when we already know what it is, because it's been out in the public for a year, then you can't speculate. Mm-hmm. It's all spoilers because we just know. So it's like I can't. It kind of makes me not able to cover ZA outside of doing live reactions to trailers. So for me, as someone that was like looking forward to this being one of the, because after I fell in love with Legends Arceus, I'm like, dude, I'm going all in. Like I'm not a huge like mega Pokemon guy, but I really loved Arceus. Let's see what's going on with ZA. I was going to go all in on covering it. And now I'm like, well, scrap that. That sucks for me. Now, granted, thankfully it's supposedly launching in the first year that Switch 2 is going to come out. So I'll have other stuff to talk about, but that was supposed to be one of that other stuff I was talking about. So it's very disappointing. I almost wish, like, for the hacker trying to take the high road and all this stuff, I'm like, you shouldn't even mention the stuff's in there. Like, if I got access to these files, I would have just been like, oh, ZA, delete. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care how much I want to know everything, delete. Like, just, it's so shady. And I know, like, we had like a similar thing happen with the Giga Leak, and like, Nate, you didn't get as mad about that, 6 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but man, it took, God, how many years for all this stuff to come out? Like 4 years. Like it was very slowly trickled out. The person, by the way, did get in trouble by Nintendo, and this person's also going to end up getting in trouble. They're going to. You think that you could just leak all these files online and they're not going to track you down? They're going to find you. You're going to be sued. You're going to be going to jail, or at least heavily fined, or both. Just ask Gary Bowser what it's like to mess with Nintendo. And that's on a much, much smaller scale than what we're talking about here. Like, oh, by the way, if you guys think Nintendo's litigious, have you seen the Pokemon Company? They're like a whole new level. So, like, they ain't going to let this go. They're going to want the book thrown at this person. So, I wouldn't, even if I got access, I might not even leak the stuff out of fear that I'm dead forever. Like, this is it. My life is over just to show the world Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not worth it to me. I'd access it. I'd look at the files. I'm like, this is cool. This is neat. I'm outie. Peace. But that's how what's being happened. It's like, and I know Legends EA has not leaked publicly yet, but it's like, supposedly there's like 5 people playing it. Originally there was only 1. So now it's 5, then it's 10, then it's out.
Exactly.
Like
That is exactly what will happen.
How it goes every time. So I just don't. I wish like the funny thing is, you know, my channel covers a lot of rumors and leaks. You might be like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "It's not," because I don't want to cover any of it.
Yeah,
and you can't because you can't show anything.
I can't show anything. Sure, I could talk about the beta stuff and speculate, but I'm not a big enough Pokemon expert to do that. Like Poketubers, I know are already doing that, and that's fine. But like, this just to me is one of the most disgusting kind of leaks out there. Like a lot of leaks happen like data mining. Cool. It's public files. It got data mined, whatever. That's how we learn things about like NSO and stuff like that sometimes. Or we learned about how Bluetooth headset support was coming to Switch. We learned that through data mining. Cool. That's fine. I'm cool if like, you know, a screenshot gets out there. Hey, someone snapped a pic. Cool. Hey, it's one screenshot, not a big deal. And I'm cool, you know, with like the rumors and stuff, and like you know, game developers talk to insiders, and you know, they put a few stuff out. That's fine because it's never the full picture. I hate when it's this, where data is stolen, a crime is committed, and then it's just everything. It's everything. There's no filter. There's no. It's just here you go. Here's everything the Pokemon Company has been doing for 30 years. Have a good day. It's like, what? No, you can't just do that. You can't just give us everything they've ever done. That's crazy. And like even now, like some of the stuff that got out there, like some of the really weird Pokemon origin stories. You know what? People are being like, hey, maybe we should see who wrote that and leak their names out there for being sickos. I'm like, no, that is insane.
Let them be freaky.
Like, yeah, they're being freaky, and they were bad ideas, and that's why they didn't move forward with them. But we absolutely shouldn't dox a current or former employee because they had a bad, freaky idea. And now they're like, oh, we morally have morals. We don't look at this shit. Morals.
It was private for a reason.
You're not even supposed to be aware of this. Was never intended for the public. My God, I've had some freaky things cross my mind in my past. I just didn't say it all out.
Like what, Nate?
Like what?
Like what, Nate?
Well, see me in the 2-inch destroyer one day walking to a bar. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just very uncomfortable with the whole thing. As cool as it is, like I obviously I've covered a few things on my channel just on the fringes, and that's kind of what this conversation is, like on the fringes, because we could deep dive into like we already know stuff about ZA. It's already out there. There's already like exact information about the game. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I didn't put that in the doc for the show because I'm like, I don't really want to talk about that stuff. Like it's just, and you might, and I know the irony is like I'll talk about a lot of Zelda leaks, but I've never had the full like what's my policy at my channel? Everyone watching, when a game fully leaks, we stop. We don't talk about it anymore. Well, guess what? ZA is fully playable start to finish. Can't really talk about it then, and that sucks. And I obviously my what I really feel bad about are the hard people that work on this. Like I know Game Freak, you know, a lot of people say Game Freak deserves this because of the trash they put out. Like there's a very complex web of what leads to games being broken at launch. But that doesn't mean that we should want people's hard work just thrown out of the internet like this. Like it's just not okay. But it's all public. So like, you know, someone told me that I'm bad for covering it, and I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? It's already fully public. I'm small potatoes compared to the people talking about this. It's everywhere. So like if it's public, we're going to talk about it, but you know, I have my morals. I didn't bring up any employee names. I didn't even go into the details on the games people are excited for. So like I'm just going to sit back and say it sucks it's out there, but it is. And you know what? If there happens to be a little smidge in there about Switch 2 beyond a code name, maybe I'll talk about it. Hopefully I don't need that. Nintendo, you might be revealing this thing. Wait, what? Nintendo talk. What's our last topic? Transition.
Is that my topic? Is that Thunderstrush's topic?
That's fine.
Yeah,
The ounce.
It's okay.
It's somebody's topic. I don't know what topic is what because I stepped away from the show and my mind is all jumbled. But Thunderstash is your topic. That's right.
Yeah, so let's switch to reveal stuff. There's a lot here. And I have a lot of speculation on this too, so I'm excited. So we'll start with the first part. There are a few things swirling around since the last episode. But first thing, we'll go with the Nintendo Switch update, the 19.0.0 update. It has some interesting changes in it. And Necro Philippe from Universo Nintendo posted about this. And I'd seen this too, and I thought this was pretty interesting, but he said that based on what I've seen in the Switch firmware 19, I expect interesting changes involving the Friends system, the home, storage, and even the way the operating system of Nintendo's new hardware should handle simultaneous content downloads. And he had posted about this on the 9th. And when was the sign up again for the NSO playtest?
I don't know when the sign up was.
Was it last Wednesday?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And so his message came out in the morning about this, and it just happened to like be at the same time. So it got me to thinking, wonder if like any of this has anything to do with the NSO stuff. Odds probably low, but it still made me think that's interesting. Both of these things just happen to be right in front of my eyes at the same time for me to look at. I'm like, I wonder if there's anything that we can look at here. But what do you guys think about that? Updates to the Friends system? I mean, for me personally, I'm like, yes, please do something, right? The homepage, is very basic. I mean, it works fine. It's very basic. And then the storage and then the multiple downloads. So are there anything there that interests you guys? Geek Apprentice, what do you think?
The one thing I would love is to bring back the home screen skins that we had like on the 3DS. I downloaded so many of those and I would change them all the time. That'd be really exciting to have those back. Right now I basically just have dark mode because light mode hurts my eyes. And I don't know specifically what I would want for like the Friends stuff to be updated. I just know that it doesn't feel great right now. And I know part of that is because Nintendo is supposed to be like a family-friendly system. And so they have to have a lot of restrictions. It can't be like Xbox and them where you can just kind of talk to anyone because that's how they market themselves. Those are pretty much my thoughts. And I actually have to go. So I'm glad you called on me because I was like, I need to go.
Perfect. I thought that was coming up soon.
I don't know how. Do I just say goodbye?
Yeah, you guys take a moment and like if you have any upcoming content or anything you want to tease, let people know about your channel.
Oh yeah. So I cover 3 main topics on my channel. That is The Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Hunger Games. Very, very different things. I've been MIA because, as alluded to in the beginning, I did just have a baby literally a month ago today, actually. So kind of transitioning with that right now. I also live stream. The thing that I'm working on right now is I'm writing a script for a Hunger Games video that has to do with things that people might not understand about the series or have missed in the movies for the Hunger Games if they didn't read the books or upon first viewing, just because I've seen a lot of like reactors for the Hunger Games just kind of overlook things, not to like poo-poo non-book readers. Like that's not how I roll. I love the books, but it's okay if people don't like the books. That's fine. But yeah, kind of going through like what are things that you might not realize about the series if you only watch the films one time through. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome.
Cool.
Look forward to that one. So I've never read the books, so I watched all the movies. I'm just saying. Sounds like the movie for me. All right. Well, thank you so much, Geek Apprentice. We'll have to get you on another time. You go be a mommy.
I will do that. Thank you so much for having me on, and nice to meet everyone too.
Nice to meet
meet
you.
you.
Have
Nice
a
to meet
great
you.
night.
All right. Bye.
Hi. All right, Stash. What are we doing?
All right, Nintendo Talk. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like pinpoint one thing because the Switch is so basic. And I mean it runs the home screen runs well, but I actually do agree with the themes. I think themes would be awesome. And of course the new system is going to probably look a little bit different too. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what friends things I would want.
I think anything.
Yeah, honestly.
Anything but
Because
what we
it's so
have.
bare. Yeah.
What we have now is what, like, you can tell what game your friend's playing at the moment.
Yeah, you can be
Yeah, join them.
best friends with them.
Yeah, I can see your play hours if you let me see them, I guess, and that's only if it works because it doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, you didn't transfer switches to you didn't upgrade a switch because then a lot of it's wiped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the friend system is not great. I already didn't like that they went back to friend codes. I can get over it, but it's kind of like, but on Wii U, we didn't. It was just like everyone else. I didn't need a friend code. Just needed an email or a username.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I don't think they're going to change that. I think that's pretty much locked in because they went away from that and rebooted to Nintendo accounts. Because I think it'd just be too much work to take it away. I think they feel like it's more secure and safe. Fine, whatever. I can get over friend codes. We've had them for so long. It's kind of like, it's just Nintendo's thing. But it's just anything like obviously, we talk about messaging friends and stuff like that. But like even being able to like hop in a game with your friend, like if they're playing a multiplayer game, on other systems, you can kind of hop in if they're playing a game that could allow you to do that. Like if someone's, as an example, new Call of Duty game coming out, right? That comes to Switch 2. Cool. Well, you see your friends playing and they're in a public lobby, be like, hey, I want to pop in that lobby with them. I want to load in and play with them. Like that would be just really, really cool. Obviously, the other big feature is like local voice chat. Like they do technically have voice chat. It's just through a phone app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they actually like integrated it in without that.
Yeah. Like I don't. It's just a lot of things need to be just readjusted. It would also be kind of cool if you could like. This is something that I've always wanted. Compare game progress and not necessarily through achievements. Or find like a way where like you can be like, oh, you and your friend are both playing Echoes of Wisdom and you want to race to see who beats it first. Well, hey, how far are you in the game? You guys say it's cool to talk to each other, but like, what if it's someone that you can't talk to?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, it'd be cool if I could just look and see like, oh, you're X percent in, or you've completed X percent or whatever. I know that's kind of like achievements, but I don't know. Even if it was just something like for a Zelda game, it could just be like, hey, how many dungeons deep are you? It could just be like, oh, this person's got been through 3 dungeons or 4 dungeons. Okay, cool. Just to give you like a general idea, and it can be different for every game. And again, I know an achievement system can kind of fix some of that. But then that depends on the game and what achievements you set for the game, because achievements aren't always progress achievements. Sometimes they're just doing random bullshit in the game.
Yep.
So I like it's just anything other than what it is now. Like what it is now is so bare bones.
Yep. I'm with you. I just want an improvement there. And I do think themes would be cool. I think there's an opportunity there. I do think it's easy money as well. For Nintendo.
Animated themes would be cool.
Yeah, people like the themes. They're popular on 3DS.
Yep.
I think the idea too, like they brought up the idea of simultaneous downloading. I was very curious about that because when I think about that, like when I'm on a computer, I'm just downloading as much shit as I want all the time. But on Switch, it's one thing at a time. You gotta wait. But it's like that on the other systems too. Like they make a download queue. They don't really let you download multiple things at once. Now, some of them will let you download while playing a game, and that would be something that I would like to see Switch to have. Like, hey, if I go to eShop and I install a huge game, while that's downloading, I would like to play a game.
Right.
A lot of times when I play, it stops the download until I stop playing. So then I just have to stop playing the game. Like I'll give an example. We have an issue with Yulia's Switch right now where the memory card reader doesn't work anymore. So like we can't put a micro SD card in. And she likes to play Fortnite. Well, that's the entire internal storage of the base Switch. So whenever it needs to update, it's always like a 9 gig update. Well, it won't download because there's not the available data. Because what Fortnite does, and a lot of games do this, is it'll download the 9 gigs and then overwrite the game files, but it needs that 9 gigs available. So she has to delete Fortnite entirely and re-download it, since the new download file on the eShop will have the update already in it. And so while she's doing that, she would love if she could just play her physical version of Tears of the Kingdom, except every time she loads that up, it stops the download of Fortnite. So she has to sit there for an hour and a half waiting for Fortnite to reinstall and can't use her Switch. That is something that I would definitely like to see improved with that. But I don't know if that's what they mean by simultaneous downloads. Like, you can have download data in a game versus also downloading a game at the same time. Maybe you can download multiple games at a time if you have the internet connection. Like, if you have a wired connection, it's really just the network card on your dock that's determining how much you can download at once. Because most people, like, I don't know. I don't even know, like, what's the be, because, like, other systems don't really work that way. On PC, it's literally just downloading everything you want, and it all just downloads at once. But
what's the point, though?
Yeah, the only thing I would think of is if you're, I got one point for it.
Yeah.
If you are transferring Switch to Switch 2 and bringing your whole digital library over, maybe you don't want to wait one game at a time and just have, like, 2 or 3 like download at once.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
That'd be the only thing I could think of.
That does make sense, but
That'd be like the one time that I would even care about something like that.
I think queuing it up would be good.
Sure.
But he's talking about the simultaneous downloads.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, okay? If I download a game and I'm just downloading one and my internet speed is 50 megabytes per second. So it's going to download it at 50 megabytes per second if I'm not using anything else in my network.
That's what we hope.
Yeah, right. Hypothetically. Okay. Say I want to download 2 games at once. Now they're both downloading at 25 megabytes per second. We still get to the same destination at the same time. Am I wrong to think that?
See, that's the thing. It actually greatly depends on a lot of things, your local network and the connection you have, because there are times when, like, I can go on my PC and I can download a file, and it can be, say, 100 gigabytes. It's like a giant video file, and then I download another file and the speeds don't change, because there's a lot of factors in play with the internet speeds. Like, in theory, I'm cutting it in half. That's not really what happens. Because there's so many different factors in play. Sometimes the servers themselves limit the download speeds. I know for a fact Nintendo's servers limit the download speeds.
Yeah.
And so that could be a thing too. We're like, if they're going to continue to do that, then why not download more at once? Because you're never going to get the full speeds anyways. That's the only thing I can think of. But, like, there's just a lot of factors that involve in the download speeds. I'll give you an example. If you have a fiber connection, that's not how that works. But by the time you even go to click on the next download, the last will be done. Look, at that point, you're definitely not limited by anything other than either you have a really shitty router or, Eric would know, Mr. Fiber.
I haven't downloaded anything.
Yeah, dude, if you just even go down like a gig file, it's like by the time you even click download, you know how it like refreshes? Before it even refreshes, the file's already downloaded. It's insane. Yeah. I just know that because I got to enjoy fiber at a hotel once, and I'm like, oh my God.
I haven't downloaded a Switch game though. So
what is this? I literally went to download a trailer or whatever. It was like a really long, like 30-minute trailer from Nintendo, and it was like 4 gigabytes to get the 1080p one. I'm like, oh, cool, let's do it. I'm gonna click this. I'll be back in a few minutes. No, I clicked and it was done. I'm like, okay, if you have fiber, I don't think, simultaneous downloads, I suppose, but I don't know what. Unless the servers, and again, that's what I think is Nintendo servers, I know, do limit the download speeds. So because I did install a game when I was there and it wasn't instant, and I'm like, okay, well, they're limiting the speeds, and that's fine. So I like simultaneous downloads when I'm on a computer because I'm multitasking, but when you're obviously on a console, none of the consoles really let you do that outside of, I said, unless this is just meaning while you're playing a game, you can download a game. Like, okay, that makes sense. Yes, I would like to do that. Because, sometimes you download data for games while you're, like, say you're like playing Fortnite. Yeah, you're downloading data the whole time you're playing. I'd still like to install a game on top of that. You know, Fortnite's not saturating my whole internet connection, but that's the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, you know, that 19.0 stuff, I think is just very interesting. Like if I glance at it, you know, changes to storage. What are we changing there? What's up with that?
Yeah.
Is this where we're starting to talk about those express micro SD cards that are super fucking fast?
I was wondering that too.
Like,
Hoping.
but please, because based on what they're going to be using for their internal memory, based on the shipping data, it's like, well, these Switch cartridges are going to be a little slow, and anything I install on a micro SD card right now going to be pretty slow in comparison. I know it's expensive, but I wouldn't mind having the option.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a big baller, to put the latest, fastest micro SD cards in there. That would just. By the way, I'm not a big baller. I still don't even have a terabyte micro SD card in my Switch, so I'm definitely not a big baller. But I'm just saying, there might be a part of me that goes, I'm a YouTuber. Business expense? Don't know if I can justify that since I don't stream like games much. But you know, I'm just saying that like,
Why? How much are they?
They're expensive. The last one time I looked at like a 512 one. God, this was a while back when it first launched. It was something insane, like $300. But I mean, here's the thing: it's new. The prices are going to come down over the course. Like that's my thing. Like I want that support in because by year 5 or 6, those prices are coming down. So it's like, you know, it's just because it's new, and I think only SanDisk, I think, was making it. I don't know. So that's one of the things that that's what I hope that's about. We don't really know. Obviously, the changes to the home. We talked a lot about themes.
Yeah.
But what about just other changes? Because it kind of sounds like if we're looking at the 19.0.0 update, the presumption here is that they're going to be using the same operating system as Switch. So how could they make it look fresh and different? Because, like, you know, this is an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and that's what it looks like on the home screen. And then this is the iPhone 14, and they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nintendo might want some differences when you load in, so like you could just tell at a glance that, oh yeah, that's Switch 2. So like I'm thinking, like, could they have a double row of games on the home screen instead of one? Could they have more data about the like a lot of us have seen a lot of the fan mock-ups of like different UI concepts. Some of those ideas I like more data on your game when you're on it. You can have like your hours played right there, you know, combined with like last time you played, and just have it right there. When you're just, you know, going through each icon. You know, one of my favorite ones is like, you know how like it pops up in the corner and tells you what your friends are playing right now? What if I could see that as little icons below each game icon on the home screen? I can see what my friends are playing without having to like go up to a friends list and look at it. I can just tell at a glance if I know their avatar. Hey, my friends are playing this right now. Like, hey, let me hop in. Oh, dude, a bunch of my friends for some reason are in Mario Kart right now. Let's get in there. Let's go have some fun. Stuff like that, like just little UI improvements. And just I feel like, you know, the Switch UI is great because it's very you know, basic, right? It's very basic, very bare bones. And I like that because it's all about getting to the games. I just feel like you can give us more information on the game. Like, see how it says like this playing icon, like, oh, I was playing Fortnite. Have something that tells me my friends are playing there. Maybe I think maybe the icons at the bottom, there should be less of them. Like the Nintendo Switch Online icon is completely useless since you have to load all the apps to you. It's like they have this idea to combine everything, but they didn't. So like maybe do that. That would be great. You know, there's just a lot of things they could do. We obviously don't know about like if there's going to be a camera at all. Like if there's a front facing camera, you can obviously then do things like facial recognition, unlock your Switch with having to hit, you know, button 3 times. I just, you know, here's the thing. I don't have like the biggest problem with the Switch home screen, but I would say one thing that I would like them to do is let me custom organize my games. Like it's cool that you have the option that it goes by like latest played, but you know what? Just because out of curiosity, I loaded the hamster game back up for a moment doesn't mean I want that appearing in my first 5 icons.
Yeah. I sent a fan mock-up in the Twitter chat, and it looks great. Like,
Does it? Yeah, we can take a look at it here.
Disregard my message asking you where it's from.
oh yeah, I just
I was like,
randomly
is this a
Googled it.
leak?
No, I
Or
just
is it a
Googled
mock-up?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you like the possibilities. Like,
Yeah, that is nice.
Here, I'll share it here.
people in the chat, let us know if you'd rather have this one than the one that we
here.
have now.
Here we go.
I mean, that looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how some people might think it's a little cluttered, but I mean, it's easy enough to deal with. And like, you know, I like this. Like, obviously, this has the idea of like achievements there. You know, friends that are, I'm assuming friends that own it or are playing it. You know, news on it. But I do. It still just provides information. I feel like as a gaming console, it's solely like, I understand why iPhone and Android's like, unless you customize on an Android, you know, that it looks very similar Android to Android, because again, you have a billion apps, right? There's a billion apps on your phone. This is just for games.
Yep.
It's a gaming system, so we should get information on the games we're playing. So I do, you know, one way I look at this and go, man, there's a lot of icons at the top. The other one, though, man, there's a lot of features up there I like. Clearly, there's a messaging icon. There's a notifications icon. Controller icon for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that's where you change your controllers, I guess. You like the news app. I think the news app is really cool on Switch. I think anyone uses it.
No.
Yeah.
But the news articles appearing next to the games they're about. Now
Cool.
that is something people might check out.
Just like the Wii. People weren't using the news app on the Wii either.
Yeah. Also, is that a TiVo icon? What was that TV icon next to the?
No idea.
We're bringing the TV button back like on Wii U.
They went a little crazy.
Yeah, they went a little crazy with that design. But it is a nice design though. Like something like that, like just redesigning the home screen in some way that makes it feel different than Switch and more robust and useful. Because again, even just being able to put folders on my home screen would be cool. Like they added folders late in the game. Like I don't know. I feel like there's just more they could do. And I know for some people they might feel like less is more. Then just let us customize it. Let us turn certain features off in the settings. Let it be the way we want. Let it be as cluttered or as clutter-free as we want.
Options are optional.
Options are optional. Yeah, even Windows with all its crazy stuff still lets you customize things. Like I just feel like some like that's in general. I think I want to see more customization on Switch.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that too. Like we got to get more than just black and white. That's just wild to me. That's all we have for the backgrounds.
7 years later.
I mean, you can list more colors or give us a color wheel picker or something.
Yeah, at least color. More colors. That's it.
I mean, you use your like silver coins for icons. I could see them using that for, I mean, much more for themes, or even the gold premium ones used for themes.
Yeah, it's crazy they have this whole coin system with them. Like we can buy icons. Okay.
And the My Nintendo rewards, I guess.
How about some themes? Like it's
Yeah.
right there. It's right there. You've done it before. It's right there. It's just free money. So what else we got besides that 19.0 update, Stash?
Yeah, so there's a lot more actually. Another thing, so in the Switch's firmware, there are references to ounce. And this matters because the recent Pokémon Tera confirmed that ounce is indeed the code name for Nintendo Switch 2.
Woo!
Yeah, so this is really interesting.
Help everyone.
We got a code name.
And I have some theories on it. Don't know if they're right, but I think they're interesting. But Nintendo Switch 2, it was also with the Gen 10 Pokemon, obviously codename Gaia, that it's in development for. So that's where it came from. That's how it got confirmed. And again, I forget where this all originated with the ounce, right? But it was a while back, right?
Yeah.
And,
there were some rumors on it a while back.
Yeah, and so it's great. I think it's always great when we have a rumor that turns out to be true.
Legit.
Sometimes months, sometimes a whole calendar year later. It's like, yeah, that was right. That checked out. And so that's always a win for, I think, everyone who follows the rumors as much as we do and everyone in the chat. So that's fun. That's a win for all of us, I think. So I guess the question is two parts. What do we think about the code name, and what features do we think that could add to it? So I'll go first here. And I know it's referred to as ounce, like spelled out ounce. All right. But I also think it can be looked at as the abbreviation, which is OZ. And I know this has probably been thrown around a few times, but I've thought about it a lot. And of course, with OZ, I'm talking about Oz, the Wizard of Oz. And I think it could definitely tie into the idea of the Switch 2 harnessing some magical new technology like DLSS. So just like the Wizard of Oz was all about creating an illusion of something more powerful than it seemed, I think DLSS could work very similarly by making games look sharper and more detailed than the hardware alone could achieve. So if Nintendo's codenaming process was leaning into that, I think it would be a clever nod to how the Switch 2 might create visually stunning games without needing cutting edge hardware like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. Instead, it relies on NVIDIA's DLSS to work its quote magic, bringing obviously high fidelity gaming to a portable form factor. And I think that like this kind of naming would fit with Nintendo's history of being, creative and almost whimsical references. And that the ounce part of it. So again, this could be a 2-part meaning, OZ and then ounce. Ounce could symbolize like the idea that this little device will be capable of delivering more than you'd thought, just like how the Wizard of Oz was full of surprises. And so the code name could almost act as if that, and then the fact that you get all of this and it's under, what is it? 16 ounces.
Yeah.
So
all of this power, all of this magic under a pound.
I literally just weighed my Switch, by the way, and it's like 14 and change ounces.
That is, first off, I love this idea so much. Thanks for my video tomorrow. No, I'm just
Hey, you got it, man. Go for it.
I didn't even think about it in terms of like, I saw people, shorten it to OZ, and it's like, well, yeah, because that's a short form of ounces. But I'm like, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, he's going to go to the Wizard of Oz, isn't he? Now, where is he going with this? The magic, the how like he's made out to be this big thing, but he's actually nothing. But it's just he's he pretends like he is, and everyone just thinks he's all powerful. Yeah, because like that is kind of like what everything we've heard about Switch 2 is. Like it's like the little engine that could, like it just punches above its weight. It just keeps doing it. That's what we keep hearing. We haven't seen it, of course. But I do find that to be a really interesting thing to think about. Because like the only thing I was thinking about with ounce was like, because the code names every now and then do have something to do with what Nintendo's doing, and sometimes not. Like NX, it's kind of random. Don't really know what that meant. Just NX, cross, extreme. I guess maybe crossing over handheld, and that's pretty much what most people kind of figured that meant. Nintendo crossing over their okay, maybe, but we don't really know because it's just NX. Revolution made a lot of sense back then, right? They're revolutionizing the way they approach the video game industry. Dolphin, that was kind of the one that I just don't really Echo the Dolphin, but I don't.
Yeah, no, I always want to think it's about Echo.
I don't really know what the point of Dolphin like that name was, other than hey, it's cool.
Nintendo 64's was Project Reality.
Yeah, Project Reality
made total sense because like
total sense back then. Yep.
Yeah, this was like the next big thing. It was wild.
Yeah. So like that made sense, but I said every now and then there's like those ones like Dolphin where it's kind of like that's a cool name. Don't really know what it really actually implied. And so then I look at ounces and I go, okay, ounces. They had the Nintendo NX that I kind of feel like, okay, yeah, I kind of have to imagine to kind of make it work, but this is a full word. It's ounce. So I think that something related to the system is going to be tangentially related to that word ounce. It won't be they're not going to use ounce. They're not going to call it the Nintendo ounce. But I could see where maybe it's a marketing thing, where something in their marketing for the game, like the We Would Like to Play days, where there's just something about it that just keeps referencing something very similar to an ounce. It's like, as an ounce, we think of measurements and liquids and stuff like that. But also people will sometimes use ounce in other ways. Like, you had an ounce of fun. And I don't really know how they would use that in marketing. But
That's not a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's only a little bit. So a little bit.
Yeah.
An ounce. So I'm just trying to think of like outside of the shortening it down, going with the Oz thing and being like, okay, that's cool. But then why would they just call it the Nintendo OZ like they called it the Nintendo NX? Like, why are they specifically saying, no, we got to spell out ounce? So like, I don't know what it is, but I just know there's something related to that word in its original form, not shorted, that means something. And until it's revealed, it might be obvious once it's revealed. Once it's revealed, there could be some feature, some unique thing that you're like, oh, ounce. Oh, that makes sense. But I can't even think about what that would be.
The thing I was seeing was the Switch code was NX, OLED was NY. You add 1 to each of those. O is after N, Z is after Y. So,
yeah.
I mean,
there's that, but then call it OZ. Like they called it NY. Yeah. They're not calling it that. It's in their code, not just for Pokemon Gen 10, but it's in the actual firmware. Like they spell out ounce. So like, why? If all the references are really just OZ related, it's alphabetical or it's Wizard of Oz, then just call it that. Why is it ounce? Like I don't know, Eric. Is there anything up there that like, ounce like just makes you think of anything? Yeah, I just can't.
Lighter. Somehow they made it lighter. And
a faster. More powerful but lighter system.
Less than a pound.
The Switch is not all that heavy, but I don't know.
I think it could weigh in at the same. But they're saying it weighs the same, but we're giving you like
8 times the performance.
Exactly, and it still weighs the same.
Now that's fair.
I actually like that theory. Yeah.
This is the thing. Like when it gets revealed, I think we'll just it'll make sense. Speaking of when it'll be revealed, isn't there something about that?
Yeah. So we'll jump into this next part, and again, this is another 2-part thing. So I'll just kind of set it up for the first. Dr. Serkan Toto, and we've all heard his name. I actually looked up today to see what he's a doctor of. Have you guys looked that up?
I have no idea what he's a doctor of. I know he's an acting doctor, but
economics.
Oh,
and I think it was might have been psychology. Might have been. He's definitely economics.
Doctorates.
What's that?
So he's got dual doctorates.
Yeah,
nice.
Because I was just genuinely interested. Like, yeah, this guy, his name always comes up. So I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on him. But yeah, he is a legit doctor, by the way. Just not the doctor that you go see when you're sick.
Not a medical doctor.
Yeah. So he put out another one of his cryptic tweets that he always does about Nintendo. And this time the tweet simply says Switch 2. Nothing else. But there's meaning to this. And in the past, he teased Zelda announcements within 2. There's that number again, 2 weeks of them happening. And so you got to ask, like, does this mean anything? Because his tweets they're always cryptic for a reason. Okay. And he is a Nintendo investor.
Yep.
He goes to the meetings. He goes to the investor meetings. So he's not going to do anything that would put
exactly
his status or anything as an investor in jeopardy. And I don't think he is the type of person. I don't know this guy personally. None of us do. But gut feeling, intuition, I don't take him as someone who's trying to troll the community. I think he genuinely loves probably Nintendo, wouldn't do that. He's probably not into that. And probably does not want to waste his time doing that personally.
Yeah.
So we have to ask, what does this mean? Well, does it mean Switch 2 is the name? We've heard that rumor. Me personally, I think so, and I'll give my reason why in a little bit. But then, what else does it mean? When is it going to be revealed? Does it mean it's going to be revealed in the next 2 weeks? Because again, previous tweets that he put out there about Zelda, one of them was Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yep.
Put out a tweet about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. 2 weeks later, it was revealed.
Yep.
And then he put out a tweet last year. All the tweet said was Z2R.
ZR. It was ZR 2023.
Yeah. So everyone's like, well, what does that mean? Like Zelda
Remake, remaster.
Zelda remake, remaster? Yeah. And it being the Zelda movie. The Zelda movie was announced.
Notably for that, yeah. So it meant Zelda Reveal 2023. And notably about that movie was revealed at an investors meeting. So he knew about something that was happening at an investors meeting.
Yeah. So super interesting, which means that his tweets mean something. And another thing, another layer to this is that after he puts out these tweets, he deletes them shortly thereafter. And so I think that's telling. Why would you delete them?
Is this one still up?
Yeah, this one's still up. He always deletes them. It's either deleted after the announcement or like right before.
Oh.
He deletes them. Yeah.
Yeah, like systematically.
Every time. When the whole world knows, I don't. Maybe just out of respect, because now it's announced, he doesn't need it out there. But plausible deniability, I have no idea. Someone else got a hold of my phone that day. Sorry. Like, here's the thing. Based on looking at his tweets, and I've been following him a long time, he doesn't. If you look at all of his tweets, he doesn't come across as someone who trolls. He takes his public presence pretty serious, and he should. He's the CEO of a massive company in Japan, Katen Games. They are basically your analyst companies out there. So he does analyst stuff, and he's gotten some of his predictions wrong over time with Nintendo. Some people have pointed that out today, and it's like, well, yeah, when you make predictions, like, you're going to be wrong. It happens. Like, sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you'll be wrong. He's been wrong on a couple. He's been right on other ones. But his tweets like this have never been predictions. They've always been leaks or hints at something that's just about to happen. And I find it interesting because, like, two things. Obviously, he put the quotes around Switch 2, which he didn't do with his prior ones, which makes you think that he's quoting exactly what the name is. It's Switch 2. It's easy to come to that conclusion because a lot of people want it to be. Plus, we had a rumor already that about the Switch 2 and the 2 being on the back of the thing at manufacturing. We don't actually know the veracity of that rumor yet because we're not going to know until it's revealed. That's what's kind of cool. Is like the more information we learn, as Stash brought in earlier, like, hey, now that we know it's ounce, that just verified an old rumor. You know, people always tell me everything I put out there is fake. There you go, something was real. But no, it's interesting just because this isn't as cryptic as before. Before it was always like, ZR 2022 or 2023 or Z2 22. Okay. We know it now. If he drops a Z, it means Zelda something. Fine. But this one, he just straight up says Switch 2. He's not beating it around the bush. This is about Switch 2. He could have put S2 and made people guess, but he didn't. He's being pretty direct. And maybe it's because of all the hype and all the rumors where he's kind of like, this isn't like the other times and you didn't know a Zelda movie was coming. You didn't know they were about to announce that at the time that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be 2022. Obviously it wasn't, but they announced, Nintendo did put it in E3 that year that it was 2022 before they delayed it. So I think that he clearly has or knows somebody and does get information, and he likes to put the teases out there because I think it could even be planted teases. This has been talked about before when we had Mike Odyssey coming out when he worked at Apple. Like, sometimes you plant a few things out there just to gauge people's interest and get excitement up before an announcement. And so this could be one of those, hey, everyone's been rumoring and talking and whatever, but actually it's happening. So let's give them that hope because it's coming. Let's get people hype and people there's a lot of people out there that think this is going to be revealed before the investors meeting in the first place. Investors meeting is on November 5th. When they revealed the Switch, it was on October 20th, 6 days before their investors meeting. So there is some lining up. If they care about having it revealed before an investors meeting, sure. They could also just wait and reveal it next year. Obviously, we all know Nintendo's public statement is by the end of the fiscal year. So I do think that there's some weight to this just because he doesn't put out cryptic tweets without it meaning something. And he doesn't troll. Mm-hmm. He has no history of trolling on social media. He takes, he's not one of those people that's like a YouTuber that's maybe having some fun. Yeah, I'm not gonna name any names. There's certain YouTubers. I'll name one. Papa Gino every now and then has a little fun out there. He'll put out something that's legit, and then he'll put out something that's fake, and guess which one? And he just has fun with people, and I find it hilarious. But it just him and I we would chit chat. It's like, that's cool. I don't know though. I think this means something. Am I crazy? Like with Nintendo, am I nuts over here? Do I just have the Switch 2 fever?
I don't think you're nuts. I don't think you're nuts. I mean, what else could it mean? I think it is like the name reveal. Although the chat is saying it's going to be called Switch 2. So.
Oh my gosh.
That's good.
Which I think could be good.
Spit on that night.
Sorry, I had that ready to go.
No, I think that's it. I think it's the name reveal. I don't think the 2 necessarily means anything. I don't think it's 2 days, 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. I think the 2 is more literal because you put it in quotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I have something to say about that.
Oh, shit. What's that?
I do. I think the 2 means something.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
Alternative theory. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it means tomorrow.
Oh.
You think this is being revealed tomorrow?
I think there's a good chance.
Wait, when did he tweet this? Today?
He tweeted it or 2
hours ago.
It was 2 a.m. today.
I just saw it. It was 20 hours ago, I think.
Today.
You think it's being revealed tomorrow?
I think there's a good chance.
What? Okay. Why?
Damn.
Shadow drop announcement?
On a Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday's fine. That's not
I think
21 hours ago.
Yeah, it was 2:08 a.m. I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, Mario Party's coming out.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, it's a party. It's a reason to celebrate.
Oh.
I like it.
Also, and I can't say anything.
Oh,
I can't give you details.
Wait, what's going on?
Wait. We got exclusive information here. What's happening?
I mean, I can't give any details, right, on this, obviously.
Now I really got my video tomorrow.
But don't be surprised if we don't get the reveal tomorrow.
So over there.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if there's leaks tomorrow. Because
if there's no reveal.
Yeah, if there's no reveal. And I must presume, I'd bet money on it that the people are going to have to sign NDAs, or they already have. But from things that I know, there's an event tomorrow.
Oh boy!
So what? Nintendo New York or what?
We have the Andres Restart replacement here because he used to do this cryptic. I know something, but won't tell you something. But then I want to say it, but I can't.
Yeah, I'd love to give a little bit more insight, but obviously I can't. I can't. And
literally tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm still a new guy on the block when it comes to YouTube and stuff. So yeah, I don't want to do that.
Okay, cool. I will literally play the clip that you said it. If it's something that leaks out, I'll be like, I don't know what the hell he knew, but he knew this was going to happen. So apparently, no matter what, there's news tomorrow. It's just whether it's official or unofficial.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised.
Yeah, you said don't be excited. It's guarantee. You're not guaranteeing it leaks out.
Until he leaks it.
But then but then Stash knows. So Stash knows it's already leaked to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa!
Him.
Yeah. I'll give you guys some more details. I mean, I can't put it out on
Yeah. Oh, you mean
on
the
public
after-
airwave.
The after show combo. Where you're gonna make me sign an NDA, so I
Yeah,
can't make a
right.
video. Got it.
I haven't signed anything, obviously, but
But no, no.
so this is part of the reason why I had mentioned I wouldn't be surprised if
There was a literal meaning to the two.
and if the NSO playtest, if the Switch 2 was already revealed. That was another reason why I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if
And I was like, oh, next week Tuesday. But then you're like, no, or not, because I earlier you were hinting like this week. I was like, why though? They didn't pre. But then if Nintendo doesn't pre-announce it, they just shadow drop. Like here's the thing: we don't know what this CEO is gonna do. Like Furukawa's never had to reveal a new generation system.
Mhm.
Maybe he thinks shadow dropping's the way to go.
I
you
mean,
could. I mean, Switch 2 trends every day.
Yeah. And if it's called Switch 2, hey, for once we're the reason it's trending. Thank you.
I do believe that. I think the
Mario
gaming
Party
community did that.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, I forget.
Double hype, hardware and game hype, same time.
I mean, it would make sense as far as the party as well. Like
Be
that is
cool.
a reason for
There's
every
no
Nintendo
category.
fan to party.
With BC, it's not going to hurt game sales. So
It's not the only party. Tune in Monday.
Yeah.
full reveal.
yeah.
When the Switch was revealed or when it was announced, was there a game that came out? Like a
What?
Nintendo game?
When the Switch was announced,
Like
Yeah,
an
the original Switch.
October
that had to be October of 2016.
2016 Nintendo.
2016 was not a great year for Nintendo.
But they had
dude.
3DS.
No.
You know, they had the last one was Color Splash for Wii U, but that was before then. Monster Hunter Stories came out in October, but that's not published by.
No.
Oh wait, so Color Splash was published October 7th. That was Wii U.
Yep.
2016. Is that the only? Well, this is the Wii U week. So that was the only one for Wii U. I'm trying to see if there was like
Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was a
3DS
game.
one. So Color Splash was October 7th. But the thing is, they had 3DS. That was their bigger platform.
Yep.
So I'm trying to see if they had anything around that time.
I don't think they had much going on.
Yeah, I mean, besides Color Splash, I know that was one, and then Monster Hunter Stories, but that was obviously Capcom. Maybe Nintendo published it. I don't know, but anyways, did you going somewhere with this?
Not exactly.
Just talking about the two.
Yeah, not exactly. Okay.
We need to end this show because I didn't know what the hell is going on.
Well, the other part of this that we want to talk about is of course the name. Okay.
Okay.
And so Switch 2, is that going to be the actual name? And I know we've talked about it before. Nate, you talked about it in your video
Yeah.
as far as the iterative speak and how people relate to that. Obviously, you mentioned you can compare Apple with the iPhone.
Yeah.
And everyone gets it.
Yep.
And again, to me, I think the Switch branding has become quite iconic. I mean, so much so that I would say it might be, but I really think it's going to be the best selling console of all time.
Sure.
How
Yeah.
can you abandon that branding?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, it would make sense to continue forward with the Switch. And then also, if you think about it, it's like Nintendo had made the Switch before Switch, in that, they took their portable handheld building, it got rid of it. and they combined it with the console building so they could work together. Like they already knew, it seems like, the direction they were going in for a long time. Obviously long before we knew about it. So it would make sense that you would just continue with Switch, because the plan is never to revert from this point forward. I don't ever see them coming out with a console and a handheld separately again. This is them. Like, this is their identity now. And so you have to continue with Switch. And again, you're going to be the best-selling console of all time. This is a super powerful brand. And when you combine it and when you say, oh, the Switch is Nintendo, that's extremely powerful. So you got to continue with Switch 2. And again, we cannot have another Wii to Wii U situation ever again. That's just bad overall for Nintendo, for its fans, for gaming. We can't have that again. But I think we'll always have that. What do you guys think?
I think Switch is the strongest brand they've probably ever had. Obviously, DS was pretty strong, but also that brand of DS was reliant upon a dual screen gimmick. While we can call Switch a gimmick, I don't think people really feel like the idea of docking a system to play on your TV is really gimmicky. I think that's one of the reasons why it took off. And people have been doing it for years with laptops, right? You dock it with a monitor. People have been doing it, with other devices as well, other portable, our phones, right? Sometimes we dock it or we flick things up to the TV. So it's not really, it doesn't feel like a gimmicky idea, and it's a really good name for a system. So I think that it's not just because it's iconic. I think it's also just, it's easily understood and recognizable. So you move forward with that branding for the Switch 2. But also, if they do number it, that to me suggests Nintendo ain't just thinking about the second. They're doing this with the third and the fourth. Like, they feel Switch is the future of the company. Not just and that might make people mad. But I want Nintendo to do crazy, all these things. That's fine. But they're also a business. And if they caught fire with an idea that never gets old with people, why would they let it go? PlayStation never let it go because they keep selling a shitload of them. Why would they move on from what PlayStation is? It keeps working. Xbox ain't working so well for them anymore. So now they might be making a pivot to something else. Nintendo, the whole reason they made the pivot to Wii was because it wasn't working anymore. Going the same direction they were going with the product, it wasn't working. So they made a pivot with Wii. And then they pivoted again with Switch. But Switch is in this unique position where not only will it become like the best-selling console of all time, or if not, it'll be number 2. It's going to be right there. It's going to be neck and neck, I think, with PS2. If you think the Jim Ryan 160 mil number is the number to beat, okay. I don't know that it's guaranteed to pass the 160, but it's going to get close. It's gonna pass, the publicly stated PS2 numbers, and it's going to pass obviously the DS.
I don't buy those numbers.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy the numbers either, but just throwing out there that the highest number we know that's been stated by anyone who might know is Jim Ryan, who said 160. All right, cool. Got to beat 160. Sure, maybe it falls just short of that, maybe, or not. We'll see. I think remember Nintendo hasn't even done price drops on this thing yet. That's still like an ace up their sleeve once Switch 2 is out, is making this like super cheap. Are they going to keep 3 models going? Probably not. They'll reduce it to 2, but it'll be super cheap.
More special editions.
Like gotta remember, Legends EA is coming to this thing. They're going to have a Legends EA themed Switch Lite or something like that. It's going to do gangbusters at like $150.
Yeah.
So like they're still going to sell Switches for a while, even after Switch 2 comes out, at least for a couple of years. And if it's anything like PS2, guys, they're still selling PS2 all the way to 2013. Like think about how long they were selling PS2 for, into that PS3 generation, into the PS4 generation. Like, we gotta, they were selling. So like, as long as there's enough demand, they're not going to stop selling it. That library is not going anywhere. The new additions to NSO that can be played on Switch are still going to be there. They're still going to be getting content and updates for a long time. So Switch, yeah, absolutely. I think could end up passing 160. It might even put a gap, a 5-8 mil gap in there, and give Switch 2 something to aim for. But I do think that it just makes a lot of sense with the brand. I think the brand is one of the strongest brands Nintendo's come up with. And you think about the brand, how synonymous that has been with Nintendo's current surge of movies and Legos and everything. All right, you got a strong brand with your movies, you got a strong brand with Lego, you got a strong brand with your theme parks, you got a strong brand with your consoles. Why stop the gravy train?
Yeah.
Keep going.
I have this weird feel. I don't know. It's like a gut feeling. I don't think it's going to be called Switch 2. I do think Switch is going to be in the name because you have like Game Boy Advance, Wii to Wii U. I think Switch will be in the name, but like
it's so un-Nintendo like.
It is very un-Nintendo like. I mean, and they are run by a new leader. They have, and he's all business.
We always get up here and we fall off a cliff. I don't want to do that. It's my number one goal. Put a 2 on it.
Yeah. The smart thing would be to put a 2 on it.
On that thing.
Put a 2 on it. Everyone is trained, to in numbers. You have your iPhone 7, 8, 9. You have your PS3, 4. So it makes sense, but I just think it's going to be something
boring,
weird.
but it also works. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the most boring thing ever, but there's a reason the next PlayStation is going to be the PlayStation 6. Yeah. Like it works, and everyone who tries to do it different just has Xbox. It doesn't work every time. It doesn't work every time. Like
I think back to the Nintendo Attach, which I think is probably the worst case scenario for a name because that literally sounds like an accessory.
Yeah, it does.
That doesn't sound too crazy from what Nintendo would do. Honestly.
No, it doesn't sound crazy for Nintendo.
So.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people, and I've even like in the back of my mind ever resigned, like Nintendo's not calling it Switch 2. Like there's just no way. That's just not Nintendo. They wouldn't do that. But then I'm like, well, we do have a new president. He's a numbers guy. Switch 2 is a number.
Yeah.
It's dumb logic, but it's also like, yeah, but like he's not an idiot. I don't think, by the way, I don't think Iwata and the rest were idiots, but I think like, well, when they made Wii U and when they did 3DS, I don't think they thought when they were doing that Wii was a forever brand and that DS/3DS was like, I don't think they were looking at it as like, this is our brand for our consoles for the next 20 years, next 30 years. And I think that what happened with Switch is, whether it was by accident or purposely, they created a brand that's Nintendo probably looks at, they're going to get a few generations out of this brand. And if that's the case, well, how are we going to clearly identify the difference between the generations? You're going to have a Switch, then you're going to have a Switch Attach, and then the Switch 3 is like a Switch Advance. Like you're going to start getting really confusing with these names if you're going to keep it going past a Switch 2. So that's why it's like, well, if that's the case, if the plan is really we're going to go to Switch 2 and then we're going to have a third one, you almost got to go with numbers just to make it not confusing from a brand perspective. But it is very un-Nintendo like, and maybe Nintendo doesn't look at Switch as like the future, long-term future of the company. Don't know how they could. It's the most money they've ever made.
Yeah. They also like to put like the feature or the selling point in the name a lot of the time too. So what does 2 really mean? I guess that would mean like the
little do we know, ounce isn't a code name.
Oh God, Nintendo Ounce, Nintendo Switch Ounce. That would be horrible.
Like every time I play, does it give me an ounce of sweat? I'm confused. Confused over here.
Switch to it, dude. It's hot.
Switch to it. And then you got Thunderstash over there. You teaser. It doesn't matter that after the show, there's clearly going to be a private conversation. But it's like he's fully on. Like forget the name. He's fully on the. We don't need to be having this name conversation. This shit's revealed in the next week.
That's why he's quiet. He knows the launch game
tomorrow, if not at least by Tuesday. He's like, I just know this shit's revealed in the next week. And if it's not revealed in the next week, then there's going to be a massive major leak happening. Either way, Ghostbusters 2. See, that's why he wore the Ghostbusters 2. He's always got a reason behind the shirts he puts on. Mine was just, hey, the Noid's awesome, and I happen to grab the laundry bin. But yeah, like, look, I do think that this whole thing, like whether it's called Switch 2 or not, I don't know. Obviously, for me, I love it. I'm like #1 in Switch 2 results on YouTube. That'd be baller. So I'd be like Nintendo's video than me. I'll take that. I like that. I think that sounds good. That sounds good for my career. But setting that selfish reason aside, why it'd be cool if it was Switch 2. No, I do like, I don't know what the name is and if that's going to be the name, but what I will say is I do think that this was a tease by Sir Toto. I do think that something's happening in the next couple of weeks. If it's not next week, I guess my theory that they wouldn't do it on Halloween. Okay, yeah, but there's other days in the week. And maybe they just don't care about Halloween. I don't know. It feels crazy to me to think about a reveal tomorrow just because really the same day like their best-selling game of the year is coming out. But then again, would it boost sales because it's backwards compatible and now everyone knows like, hey, we should buy this because we can play this on Switch 2? And what if they tease a Switch 2 exclusive mode or something? Like they got 20-player mode on Switch, we got 40-player mode on Switch 2. Oh, well, shit. I could buy my first Switch 2 game right now. Well, shit. That's a selling point. So 40 Battle Royale. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but obviously Stash is pretty confident for his own reasons and sources of stuff that cannot divulge, which by the way, if nothing happens tomorrow, this is still totally a video. Thanks, Stash. Why does this happen on this show every time? Paul Gale was on before and he dived a bunch of details. Oh, there's a video. I just restart comes out. Oh, I haven't made a video on this yet, but and he goes, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Make the video because I have to make it. You put the information out there. I have to make it. Happen on my show. No. So I do think it's a tease, though. I do think the next couple of weeks make sense. I already put out a video that people got mad at me about, saying like, oh, well, my last stand for 2024 is by November 5th at the latest because that's investors meeting. And people were like, yeah, you're just saying. I'm like, no, yeah, I speculate every month. Sure. Like, who doesn't? We've been wanting this thing revealed for years. This isn't a new desire. It's just now Nintendo put a clock on it. March 31st is the latest. So like, we have a clock, and the clock is ticking down. It's not this month. There's only 5 left. Less than half a year. Technically less than half a year right now. So, but yeah, I don't think Dr. Circontoto messes around with his cryptic stuff on Twitter. I think it always has meaning behind it. I think he's absolutely going to be deleting this tweet maybe tomorrow if Stash is correct.
Well, at that point, he would have deleted it now.
Why? It depends. He might wait till after it's revealed.
True.
And then delete.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know anything. Delete.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Switch to tomorrow is what he meant. Switch to tomorrow. Let's get to 2 a.m. tomorrow. I don't think they'll do it at 2 a.m. If they're going to do a reveal, it'll be probably early morning, so it hits in all the time zones at the right. That's why if you guys are wondering why directs are at the time they are, it's because it hits in a good time for every time zone. That's why they do it in the morning.
That's right.
All right, man. Eric, what are you thinking with the Switch 2?
It just needs to. Nintendo just needs to get off its ass and just announce it because I just want to know what it is. I need a new Switch, and yeah, I'm ready for it. My body is Reggie.
Your body is Reggie. All right. Let's go ahead. Does anyone else have anything they want to add to this? Because like right now, I'm just like, I got to zoom to the post show that you guys aren't part of. Like, right? I'm ready to zoom the hell out of here. But we have still the Q&A coming up.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything they want to add? Release date frenzy. Oh, this is release date. This is reveal. Nintendo talk. I mean, do you think the reveals happen in the next couple of weeks?
Definitely before the investor meeting.
Definitely.
I think definitely. I think this month for sure, 100%.
So when we're all wrong and nothing is said and it's
More
revealed, and it's revealed March 31st.
Listen, if I'm wrong, Nate will eat a hot chip in my honor. Okay.
That's a good deal.
Do we agree on that? Yes, I think
I'll do 2 at once.
Fine.
Eric will do 2. Nate will
Fine.
snort 1.
No, not snorting. No, I will eat one. I will not snort one. I will eat one more time because Nintendo Talk became a co-host after the show. I had to do it, so I'll give them the one bet. So what happens? Okay, so the bet is what? Like if it's not revealed, I do it.
Not revealed this month.
Okay, so there's no benefit to me if it is revealed.
I know it's a win for me.
Win for you. So
You don't have to eat hot chip. Isn't that a benefit enough?
Is that benefit enough? Fine. Done deal. Locking it in.
Ooh, okay. I will dip my hot chip into my habanero.
That's less spicy. It's less spicy than the chip.
Add it in.
It's another chip coming for you guys.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's only if there's still a bite left that I can make you dip it into bomb.
Oh, all right.
Even though the bomb's technically less spicy than the chip too, but
yeah,
it's just gross.
yeah,
I didn't tell you which the bomb. Did you know there's 2 hotter sauces than Beyond Insanity?
And
And he is the spice lord. He is the spice. I gotta find the hottest fucking hot sauce I can find. God damn it! Even then, he was like, and who cares?
So would this be an overnight thing or like 9 a.m.?
On a thunder stash over there?
Yeah.
Oh, um,
Someone's about to break through his house right now.
Oh yeah! The ninjas are just waiting.
Yeah, right?
as far as if it were to leak out, we're talking American time zone, like U.S. times, and we're not talking about
Yeah. So if it's a leak,
Japan.
so basically this whatever this is something happening in the U.S. Got it.
Oh,
And U.S.
saying
people like to leak everything, so that's always good signs.
yeah,
exactly. You can always count
We'll
on.
keep anything a secret around here.
Have
You
your
can always
alerts
count on
on,
that
everyone.
So basically, whether it's announced or not, I probably have a major video tomorrow on something about Switch 2 that's a leak from somewhere. I don't know where it's going to be. I just hope it's not on 4chan because then I can't really cover that because it's probably bullshit.
I haven't been on 4chan in years.
Yeah, it'll be Thunderstash is what it will be. Just make a community post about it because he doesn't make videos on this stuff. Hands me the exclusive scoop, buddy. You know that means your ass is on the line for this, right? Not me. But everyone knows they were here on the podcast. They witnessed. All right, guys.
no, your ass was on the line last week.
Let's. Yeah. The next day, I had a couple that didn't feel great. Let's go ahead and get to the Q&A part. Remember, guys, if you're watching the live version of the show on YouTube, I don't really care whose YouTube you're watching it on. You can super chat in and get your questions in. Our first one came from Shalaris Blackheart for $10. Said, I know it's not a Nintendo title, but are any of you grabbing the Sonic remaster next week with Sega having confirmed that Shadow's portion is a brand new experience, like what 3D World did in 2021? Bowser's Fury. You guys picking it up? Sonic? Was it Sonic X Shadow Generations?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm debating though. Actually, maybe they can answer this for us. So I googled it. There's the digital deluxe version that includes apparently a much expanded soundtrack, and I love Sonic music from some of the games, like especially Sonic Adventure. There's some banger tracks in Sonic Adventure, and so I'm like thinking, okay, well, I want to buy it physically. I don't want the digital deluxe version, but I would gladly buy the digital deluxe add-on. And so the debate on the internet, nobody knows if it's coming, like if you can buy that separately. People on Reddit reached out to Sega and posted Sega's reply, and Sega couldn't answer the question. Now, obviously, I mean, why would you not sell it? That would be foolish. Why would you, paywall it behind a digital deluxe version that's $10 more when you can sell it for $10, right? So that's kind of my logic. That's what I've came to. It sounds like Sega's not going to answer it, whatever. I'm just going to buy the physical version, and I'm going to believe that I'll be able to buy that music because I do want it, especially if it's good, but they don't have the songs listed. It's everything's a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be getting it, but I've made a rule for myself that Sega and Ubisoft, I will not buy day one because literally in like a week, it'll be half price. They drop their games so fast. So I'll get it physically though.
I'm surprised Monkey Ball is still holding. The new Monkey Ball. I'm just waiting.
The
for
new
that
one
price
was
drop.
great. I did buy that day one because I
You
love
did?
Monkey Ball. Yeah.
I love Monkey Ball. I've been monkey balling it up since GameCube, since the first one. And I even had that game pre-ordered back in the day. I was so hyped for it. And I was excited for this one. Let me ask real quick. Have you played it online?
Yeah, it goes down to 30 frames per second, which is weird.
On Switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
fantastic though. Like probably the Monkey Ball to own on Switch. for sure.
So I'm not picking the game up. I'm gonna wait. Not just 'cause the price drops, like probably will price drop pretty quick. Usually does. But also like I feel like I'm getting kind of burned on Sonic. Like none of the Sonic games end up as good as they look. They end up just being solid. And solid to me is not enough for day one. It's just not. It's enough for a price drop.
Like a holiday game.
Like, I know what Sonic Generations is. Like I already know, right? Play to beat it, cool. But okay, it's the shadow stuff. That's what makes me want to get it. But it's kind of like, am I going to pay full price for like half experience? Like I don't know if I'd pay $60 for Bowser's Fury. Would I pay $60 for this? I don't know. But at least Bowser's Fury, it delivered. I want to see this delivered.
Mm-hmm.
If it delivers and the reviews and everyone, Stash comes out, tells me, hey man, they did it. It actually came. I'll be all right. You know what? Then maybe I'll pick it up the very first price drop it is, even if it's only like $5. So that's kind of my stance on it. And then Eric, I don't really think plays Sonic much.
No.
So
It looks really good. Have you seen the gameplay?
I don't think Eric has.
Oh, looks pretty good.
It does look really, really, really nice.
Promising. Yeah. Next up, we got Kart-kun came in for the 500 Japanese yen, saying, what character do you play as in Mario Kart? And what's your pick for Jamboree?
Mario Party.
Oh, Mario Party. God, I read that wrong. Why did I go to Mario Kart? Mario Party. What character do I play in Mario Party? It's always Yoshi. To fight over Yoshi. Of course, that would have been the same answer in Mario Kart.
I think mine's DK.
DK.
Mm-hmm.
And for Jamboree, the Jamboree's got a huge roster. Look up the Jamboree.
Yeah, DK is always my second pick. Wario's my first
Wario,
pick.
yeah.
Yep.
As I say, it's Wario for you.
So it's kind of interesting. Jamboree. Well, this is kind of a spoiler. Not really, but the two unlockable characters are Ninji.
Yep, and Pauline.
Yeah. And the way to unlock them is very strange. I don't know why.
Is it? Yeah, I haven't looked it up yet.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the roster. Obviously, my boy Yoshi's there. But sometimes when like a game comes out and it's got like this big of a roster, I sometimes want to try something else. Maybe I go for Birdo. Give Birdo a crack, or maybe Monty Mole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like when like the rosters get expanded because like in Mario Kart it's always been Yoshi. But then they gave me my boy Link. Let me tell you, I haven't looked back since Link came out. It is what it is.
I like Toad too.
Which made Julia happy because when we play Mario Kart, we're not fighting over Yoshi anymore. We could both be Yoshi and do different colors. No, you can't be Yoshi. Okay, well, I'm Link. Ain't gotta worry about it. All right. Our next one came in. Tracy J. He said, "Yeah, we hacked everything except the Switch 2 trailer and the IRS. Our priorities are not in the right place." Yeah. Well, people do things. Taker610 says, "Good to see you, Geek. Rip the Hylian Gamecast." Yeah, man. I've been giving Jesse hell about that Hylian Gamecast for years. Like, what are you doing, man? You had such a good thing going. Should have let like Cat Berg take over or something and run it for you. But that's all right. Boo Mini gifted a member that ended up going to Blue Star Guardian. So thank you so much for gifting a member, supporting the show. Boo Mini then came back with a $5 thing. It says Ounce, OZ, Ruby Slippers, Ruby playing as Epona in the Zelda movie because she's got obvious connections. Nintendo Ruby and Nintendo Ruby Lite.
Heck yeah.
This is the kind of conspiracy theories I support.
Heck yeah.
You think we can throw in a Pokemon Ruby remake too?
Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, that's good.
Again.
I like it.
I like that, dude. I like when the theories go deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's not the only thing I like deep.
Hey,
do any of you all? This comes from Chris Gonzalez for $5. Do any of you all have a pre-made or prepared Switch 2 video where you can just clip in pics to be first to the punch? No,
Hell no.
that's not how I roll.
Nope.
I do. On my non-existent YouTube channel.
No,
Eric has a secret 1 million subscriber channel.
Right.
I don't believe in operating that way. Like I understand like having some stuff pre-made, like assets.
Yeah.
But like it's really hard. Like let's say, they shadow drop tomorrow. Like what am I supposed to have pre-made for that? Exactly. I don't have the logo. I don't have any of the assets that from the reveal. I won't have that till the reveal happens. So it's one of those things where like if I had anything prepared, it would be like, oh, if it's a shadow drop, maybe I should have a thumbnail prepared to go quick live with a stream, do like a live reaction. But like it's kind of like announcements like this are like kind of hard to do like any sort of prep work for, especially when you don't know the day. When you know the day, you can do a little bit of prep, but when you don't know, it's very hard to be like, okay, yeah, it's sometime between now and March. Okay, well, that's such a huge window. What am I supposed to prepare for? I can't prepare to like have my kids babysat. I can't prepare. Like, it's just it is what it is. Like, I do what I do. So,
yeah.
I have some basic assets I use in some of my videos, but once it's revealed, I'm assuming I have real assets to use. So, yeah, I don't really have anything to make it quick. I think the best thing I've done is my setup. I might not transfer my video file off this computer because I usually direct record to my PC, then transfer over to my Mac. I might just edit right on my PC and upload just to make it a little quicker. But I have a setup where it's just direct cord. I turn the camera on. I hit a couple buttons on my Stream Deck. I could show things. I could bounce back and forth and make it very minimal editing to get something out quick. That's maybe like the biggest workflow improvement I've had to get on announcements quick. But the biggest thing is just me noticing it happened. If I'm not in my office working, I'm not checking my phone all the time looking for stuff. So like it literally, if they drop the announcement and I'm laying in bed, I won't even know.
You're not like a Game Explain anyway, where you have to be first.
Yeah, I like to be if I can, but usually I'm not.
Yeah.
But you never know. Like here's the thing: if it's revealed and I'm awake and I haven't left my bed yet because I'm like chilling, playing Echoes of Wisdom or something, I'm gonna know it happened because my entire fan base is going to be hitting my phone like there's no tomorrow. So like it's like, oh, well, shit. I guess we gotta go live. I don't know, something's happening.
Yeah,
I haven't showered yet. It's okay. You get dirty Sanchez 8 over here. I don't actually have it. I don't think this is something you can really prepare for, other than like mentally.
No makeup Nate making videos.
No makeup Nate. Right. That's right. You're gonna get the old gray beard over here. Chris Gonzalez identified us. I've always wondered this: are you a full-time content creator, Stash? And if so, what was your prior profession?
Oh yeah, so I'm doing it full time now. Prior to this, I was the director of operations at Loan Depot Mortgage Company. We're the second largest lender in the United States. I worked there for about 8 years, and then prior to that, was in the restaurant business. I worked for the same company. So anyone who lives out in California, Islands Restaurants. In fact, they were just in an episode of Cobra Kai, which I was really proud of.
Yes,
I was like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I was there for 10 years and was a traveling manager. So they moved me around to different locations that weren't doing good, that were failing on different levels. Even as Vegas, the culture is just not right, or the energy is just not right here. We need you to fix that, like fix the attitudes here, to fixing things like liquor, beer, wine cost, food cost, labor, turnover, all that good stuff, right? The list goes on. You guys know how that is probably in the restaurant business. So yeah, I was in management for about 20 years. And yeah, now I'm doing this full time. And I've said it before. I don't say it often, though, so I guess I'll throw it out there. I did not know anything at all. As of January 2023, about when I started, I didn't know anything. I had never edited a video in my life, never done Photoshop. I did not use social media. I honestly kind of despise the idea of it. just because working in management, especially at a young age, you're always being watched. People are always watching. People are always looking to see you fail. And, you got to lead by example. So I put my phone away every time I was at work.
Sure.
And I worked a lot of hours, 60, 70 hours a week for about 20 years. So I'm tired. I'm still tired. But yeah, that's what I did. So full time now. I love it. Yep.
Yeah, man. Look at this guy. Started what when did you start? January 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's almost 40K. He's almost 40K in like 2 years. Dude, that's insane. Dude, I can't even grow that fast. That is insane. You're gonna blow up past me. Middle of the Switch 2 era, you're gonna be like a 500K YouTuber, and I'm gonna be like, hey, guys, we finally hit 150,000. Woo!
Yeah, I mean that would be cool.
Dedication.
I don't look at the numbers at all though.
That's good.
I don't look at any subscriber numbers. I swear to God, every time I go to my homepage, like if you see my hand, I close one eye and I go like this every time.
You don't see your sub count?
Yeah. Yeah. My girlfriend will try to tell me. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I need to work like I have under 1,000.
Well, sorry for telling you.
No, it's fine because that happens. And so it actually comes as a nice surprise. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I know ballpark where I'm at, but yeah, I don't look at anything. I just don't.
So we're all full time.
Yeah. Besides Eric.
I mean,
Yeah.
He's a full-time friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all full-time. That's pretty crazy. I wasn't even full-time until November of 22. So shortly before Stash, did it. He went from ground zero. So it's pretty crazy. And now we're on a pod together, baby.
I know, it's awesome.
Every week, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time, for as ever long as it takes us to get through all the bullshit we need to talk about every single week. The big Nintendo news stories. We're going to go ahead and wrap the show up there. I don't see any other super chatted in questions, so I think we're good. Thank you so much, Chris Gonzalez, for your questions. I do appreciate it, and the show appreciates your support. Let's go around the room, let people know what we got going on, where they can find us, and I'll end by letting people know where they can get the audio version and all that. Eric, we'll start with you, Mr. Milwaukee.
I'm here. That's it.
That's it. That's all he's got for you. Nintendo.
I will be here every Wednesday. But yeah, you can find me at Nintendo pretty much everywhere. I will be playing Super Mario Party Jamboree tomorrow on stream. And then Saturday, I'm going to be playing it with people online. I'll be streaming that too. So should be good. I'm excited. I'm a huge Mario Party fan. It looks amazing. So, and I will be getting the physical at Target because they have a tin bucket thing pre-order. So
the tin bucket.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the best one.
Yeah, I may be streaming Mario Party tomorrow. Look, Nintendo, I reached out. They say put me on a list. Hopefully that list is an email tomorrow with a download code. That'd be great. You might go, well, Nate, just buy it. Look, I get paid once a month, and I need tomorrow. I'm just throwing that out there. The life of a YouTuber. The paycheck's once a month. All right. That being said, Thunderstash.
Yeah, you guys know where you can find me. Thunderstash Gaming, and I just posted earlier today a review for a game called Pumpkin Jack. Have you guys heard of this game?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what? This was wild. I didn't know what to think of it, and I'm not going to give a spiel on it or anything, but let me just say I was surprised by the game. You should check out the review, and that it is available on Switch, PS5, and PC. And I don't know if it is on Xbox, but
did you get the limited run of it? It just came out.
I did. I pre-ordered it.
Nice.
And that was actually what drew me to it. Cause I'm like, I want to see what this game is about. This looks interesting. There's not many Halloween games.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's horror games, right? But there's really not many Halloween games that are good. Granted, we have one coming out in 2 days, the Retro Realms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I plan on playing and reviewing that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, we really don't have any Halloween themed games, right? We had that one RPG. You remember that one, Costume Quest?
Mm-hmm.
That was like a Halloween themed RPG, but we just really don't have any. And so this game was very intriguing to me. So I went to go do some research online on the game, and there was only a couple of reviews, and nobody really. They're all very surface. So I'm like, I need to play this game and review it. So that's why I ended up reviewing this game, going in blind, really not knowing anything about it. So yeah, you guys check that out if you're interested. And then I have a retro review coming on Saturday morning. It's already scheduled. Upload it, scheduled. And then I am jumping into Silent Hill 2 right after this.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited because again, it's been I think I looked at it, was 21 years. 21 years since I played it. I played it when it came out.
The original is great, and I've heard good things about this version. So
yeah, and I got to play that before Metaphor Refantasio, the 80.
I was going to ask if you were going to play that one because that's a beast of a game.
I am. It's already installed. The list is so long for the games to play. My hope is that I can get through all of the ones by like December or January, because as you guys know, like it slows down in December.
Yeah, there's like a lull.
Yeah, like December is in Indiana Jones, and then Fantasian Neo Dimension, which I am hyped about that game. That's the one by the father of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
The one that came out on Apple Arcade. So hyped about that. But after that, it's pretty slow. January is usually slow, so I can make up time there. But yeah, dude, it's gonna be nuts. And I am picking up Mario Party tomorrow at Best Buy. Picking up my pre-order.
Nice.
Picking up the tote bag.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's probably the lamest one, but hey, you know what? Pre-order bonus is a pre-order bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GameStop has the dice keychain thing. So
yeah, I saw that. I think the one you're getting is the best. I'd probably turn it into a trash can. Put a bag over it.
Right.
Turn it into a trash can. Now it's a basketball hoop.
Exactly.
Win-win. Yep.
It's true.
Oh man. So look, I obviously don't know. I'm a news channel. I don't know what the hell I'm covering tomorrow. Oh wait, apparently a either announcement or leak about Nintendo tomorrow, supposedly. And if neither of those things happen, a video on Thunderstash telling me those things were gonna happen. But no, I had no idea what I'm gonna cover tomorrow if it's not one of those things. That being said, I'm Nintendo Prime. You guys know where Nintendo Prime's at. If you don't and you're new to the show, I'm a YouTuber. I cover Nintendo news, leaks, rumors, etc. We do weekly Q&A streams. Like I'll have a Q&A stream tomorrow night. If not Mario Party, the hope is Mario Party, but we'll see. It might be a combo stream. I have no idea. That being said, I want to let you guys know the audio version of the Nintenbyte Podcast is available everywhere the audio versions can be heard. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I was about to say Google, but they got rid of it. But it's everywhere. It's on iHeartRadio stuff as well. We're all over the place. You can listen to us pretty much anywhere you want. I even think through iHeartRadio, if you wanted, once in a while there's a radio station on XM Radio that plays our shows. Once in a while. It's not a contract I have. It's just something that iHeartRadio does with someone they're contracted with, where they play people's podcasts randomly. So it's every now, and I only know this because I was listening to it one day. I was just flipping through XM Radio. I'm like, hey, why am I talking on XM Radio? Oh shit, podcast episode.
It's cool.
What is up with that? That is wild. Anyway, so we're literally everywhere the podcasts are heard. The audio version's growing, the video version's growing. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and making this show one of the top Nintendo podcasts in the world. It is amazing and awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the edition of Nintendo Talk this week and every week.
Hell yeah.
We'll catch you guys in the